Evil Dragon War 1. Spoiler alert, this part has not been covered in the High School Dxd anime yet, so if you do not want to be spoiled then do not continue. It has been completed in the light novel. But if you wanna read, who am I to stop you? To quote from the Joker, it only takes one bad day to drive a man to insanity. In this dark alternate take on the arc of the High School Dxd, our main protagonist Issei Hyoudou, instead of winning against RageRevan and Lucifer, he instead loses to him. This does not make things any better as RageRevan manages to kill both of Issei's parents and mortally wounds Asia Argento. Issei himself is severely injured. Things only get worse for our chestnut hero as Draig sacrifices himself to save our hero from RageRevan's final attack. Draig perishes, or so it is thought. RageRevan, hahaha, that damn dragon is finally dead. The alliance is vulnerable, and with Issei-kun on the ground, I am unstoppable. Issei eyes dried cause of tears. Nooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooo 4 months later, Issei has finally awoken from his coma. Issei, it feels like a fever dream. Hey Draig, no response since even the boosted gear is broken. Oh right, he is dead. How long was I passed out? Where is everyone? Nurse, you have been asleep for 4 months, Mr. Hyoudou. You have had severe injuries and blood loss. This triggered a coma due to the shock received on the brain and due to emotional trauma. It is actually a miracle that you even woke up. It seems that your dragon physiology is much stronger than I anticipated. As for your second question, Miss Gremory and her peerage stopped seeing you after 2 weeks of your initial comatose. Only one person visited you on a daily basis. Azazel, the governor of the fallen angels, he still believed you would wake up. Issei, at least he still cares. As for the others, I understand why they didn't visit me. They must be still fighting that Lucifer, the one who took my parents. Where? Is, Asia, Argento. Nurse, unlike you who has woken up, she is still in coma. Her wounds were not only far worse than yours, but also she does not have a strong body like you do. Issei could see that a woman is on life support. This is Asia Argento, who was bandaged on her head. She could still see her struggling for her life. Her sacred gear, Twilight Healing, barely managing to keep its host alive. She is still wrapped on bandages and casts due to her injuries. Issei could only tear up at the sight of her friend and foster sister in bandages. He wished if the others at least visited her than him. Nurse, should I call someone from home to pick you up? Issei, no thanks, I will see myself out since I am at least able to walk normally. With that, Issei decides to head to his house in Q. Little does our chestnut know that he is in for the biggest shock of his life. As you can see, Riaz and the other girls, except Asia, have stopped caring for him. Even the faction leaders, except Azazel, has not cared him, especially Surzech. Furthermore, none of them even visited Issei or Asia when they were in the hospital, and they just went doing whatever they wanted to do. As for the girls, they have been cheating behind our chestnut hero with other men. Issei finally reached home. I wonder what the girls are doing. With a lecherous face, I hope I can see Butchu's oppai tonight, or maybe even Akino-san's oppai. Issei, isn't that Ria's voice? Why is she moaning? Does she miss me that much that she is watching porn? Riaz, slow down, I don't think I can keep it longer. Oh Riaz, I am still full of stamina, I can do this all day. Issei, wait, that voice sounds familiar, it can't be. Issei opens the door and puts on the light. He gets the shock of his life. His girlfriend/fiancé is cheating on none other than his brother by bond Hyoudou Kiba. Riaz, wait, who put on the light? Dazed Issei. Kiba, bro, this is not what it looks like. Issei, in a monotone voice, Riaz, is this what you were doing while I was away? You were fucking another man, the one who I used to call brother. I cannot believe you too. I thought I would surprise you home, that you would be happy to see me woken up just like you did when I was presumed dead. This happens in the demonic beast riot, whereas Issei is killed by Samuel's poison, but is revived thanks to Great Red and Offai's fusing his powers to create a new body for Issei, thus making him a pseudo-dragon god. But I was wrong, dead wrong. I will see myself out. Riaz, Issei, wait, let me explain. Issei, no, I do not want to listen to your half-ass excuses and lies. I have had enough of everything. Now then, Issei fires a dragon shot but makes it miss, but ends up creating a hole. Do not bother me ever again. Riaz, no, please wait. Issei flies off out of rage and grief due to Ria's betrayal, but little does Issei know that not only Ria's has betrayed him, but the other girls as well as faction leaders have done the same, except Azazel and Asia. Over time, Issei hears that the other girls have also been cheating on him. Adding insult to injury, the girls kept on demeaning him with insults like worthless, pervert, scumbag, enemy of women, weak, etc. Even his childhood friend Irina not only cheats on him with a look-alike but also demeans him behind his back. Eventually, Issei goes to the faction leaders. Azazel is overjoyed to see his surrogate son awake but is deeply angered at what the orc members did. Azazel, I am really sorry, Issei. I could not help when you needed me the most. Issei, it's okay, sensei, it is not your fault. Devil, can Issei-sama and Azazel-sama come to the meeting right now? At the faction meeting, Issei could see Surzech, Serafal, Michael, Yasaka, and their guards around them. To say they were surprised would be an understatement. They did not know that the chestnut would wake up from their coma. Even the volley team, Ria's and Sona Citri's peerage was present. Surzech, Issei Hyoudou, since Draig has died and you are no longer the Red Dragon Emperor, I therefore declare you out of the Team Dxd. You are no longer of any use to us. Both Azazel and Issei were in shock. Azazel was still not aware that the faction leaders have kicked Issei behind his back. He would have definitely tried to stop them. Issei at this point is still pretty strong even without the boosted gear, like he can easily hold his own against Surzech because of his dragon physiology. But now he is currently mentally unstable, so he will not be able to think tactfully. Yasaka, the Devil King is right. Since you are now useless, you are therefore not needed in the Team Dxd. You are even going to be kicked out of the Alliance since we do not need a worthless dragon. Furthermore, you will also be kicked out from the Ria's Gremory peerage. You are no longer needed here. Issei was utterly shocked. He saved the Fox leader from the hero faction from Cao Cao and the hero faction. As if it wasn't for his efforts, Yasaka would have been nothing but a slave for the Cause Brigade. Azazel was utterly disgusted with the actions of both Surzech and Yasaka. He would not be surprised if the Gremory, Citri, and even the Yokai would have betrayed him, although he knew Michael would not turn on him since he would have fallen. True to his thought, Michael did not betray him. He was forced to play along with both Surzech and Yasaka since they threatened his faction. Michael, I am sorry, Issei, there is nothing I could have done. If I did not accept, they would have. Michael tries to continue, but a glare from Surzech shuts him up. Issei tried to look at Ria's for help, but she only taunted and mocked him even further. Ria's big brother is right. You are of no use to us anymore, Issei. You are therefore kicked out from the team. I only revived you cause you had a good sacred gear, else I would not have even cared or revived you. You really are pathetic. Aquino, she is right. To think I liked you, I only saw you as a pervert, nothing less, nothing more. You now mean nothing to us, you are worthless. Kaneko, you are fucking worthless and an enemy of all women. You were always a pervert. I was only tolerating you because of your sacred gear. The punches and injuries were all true. I always hated you very existence. You never meant anything to me. Kiba, I never saw you as a brother. You were always an embarrassment due to your perversion, although I appreciate your help for my past. You did nothing but not only affect our and our club's reputation, but also affected our nature because of what you were doing. Zenovia, I only needed you because you were the Red Dragon Emperor, but since you no longer have the gear, I do not need weak children. Irina, I only befriended you out of desperation since you did not have much friends. I actually thought there was something between us, but there is nothing. You mean nothing to me. Issei felt all those words hit him like a stab in the heart. The people he devoted his time to told him he meant nothing. He helped Aquino with her daddy issues and accepted her fallen side despite struggling with PTSD thanks to Rainier. He is the reason Kiba did not get consumed by vengeance. Accepted Kaneko's heritage, allowed Zenovia and Irina to pray again, and last but not the least prevented Rias from ever marrying Riser and having her life be a living hell. Furthermore, he is the reason that the orc is still intact like a family. Otherwise, Kiba, Kaneko, and Aquino, along with Rias, would have been Riser's slave for the rest of their lives. He started to lose hope. The people he cherished and cared for only cared about him being the Red Dragon Emperor. Azazel had no words for what happened here. He realized he had failed the orc. He knew that there is nothing he could do. He was strong but not strong enough to take on the Alliance. Xerxes was strong enough to go toe-to-toe with the fallen angel leader. Seraphal, you may be my first friend, but you no longer are. You were only my friend because you were strong. Now that you are a weak dragon, you mean nothing to me. Now leave this place and never show your face ever again. Riaz, Akino Kiba hold Issei while I remove his evil pieces. A and K with pleasure Butchu. They hold Issei, but the chestnut showed no resistance. He was still handling the betrayal, but deep down a dark rage. Hatred started to brew in him. They used me for their own selfish purposes, he thought. It kept on increasing. Meanwhile, Riaz removed her evil pieces from the dragon's body. Issei screamed in pain as the chest pieces were removed and a gaping wound was seen. Riaz hurled in disgust with his blood and immediately went to wash her hands along with the pieces. Vali, you were my rival. I am really sorry for what happened to Draig, but I cannot do anything. My hands are tied. I am sorry, but we cannot be rivals anymore. I was against all this, but there is nothing I can do to help you. Kuroka, I only needed you for having strong children, but that cannot happen. Therefore, I am also not gonna need you in my life anymore. You meant nothing to me. Sona, do not worry about your admission is Cute Academy. You have been expelled from there. I was wanting to expel you from the academy myself, but I could not do it. Plus your perversion is a good reason for your expulsion. You do not need to come to the academy anymore. Plus most students and teachers would be overjoyed by the expulsion. Saji, you heard my master. You are no longer welcome here. You can leave. If I ever see you again, I will personally kick you out and injure you myself. All the other members of Sona's peerage and Team Vali agree with their master leader's decision. None of them dared to feel pity or tried to help the chestnut since they would be killed without a second thought. Most of them didn't like Issei because of his perversion, but some of them wanted to help him genuinely. Azazel was in complete shock, although he was happy that Vali didn't turn his back on him. The others did, especially the Vali team and Sona and her peerage. Issei was still trying to process all of this. The rage and hate were really starting to increase and it only needed one spark to explode. Meanwhile, all the girls had called their boyfriends and were making out. Riaz herself was making out with Kiba. Saji was doing it with Sona. Azazel looked at the entire scene in disgust. Pervert. Enemy of women. Worthless. Pathetic. Idiot. Riaz then stopped and walked to Issei. Riaz, I should have never revived you, Hyoudou. You were always weak, just like your pathetic parents. That's why they died. That did it. Issei finally snapped. His aura started to increase dramatically, thus causing the entire alliance to fear him. He lunged at Riaz, punching her face, followed by grabbing her hair and using his talons to cut her hair. Riaz screamed in terror and pain as she saw her hair on the floor, and with a quick swing she was sent flying to the wall. Issei, you really are a hypocrite, Riaz. You wanted me to call you by your name and you didn't want me to see you as Baochu. But here you are always seeing me as the Red Dragon Emperor. You didn't want people to view you as a title or a trophy, yet you viewed me as a title. You really are pathetic and disgraceful to the title of noble. In response, the whole peerage and arena tried to attack Issei. Akino used her lightning, Kiba used his swords, and Kaneko tried to punch him. But they did nothing to slow down Issei's onslaught as he easily evaded Kaneko's punches with a sidestep and gave her a roundhouse kick to the face, sending her flying to Akino with a direct hit, sending both of them flying to a wall, knocking them out for a while. Kiba tried to use his holy demonic sword and dragon troopers to damage Issei, but it did nothing as he easily destroyed troopers and blocked his sword with a single hand, grabbing it and giving him consecutive punches to his ribs, stomach, and face, resulting in several broken bones. Kiba screamed in pain and fear as the once weak former pervert is now looking on to the entire team with fear. Zenobia used her Durandal to attack Issei, but he easily sidestepped and gave a powerful blow to the stomach, breaking her ribcage due to the force, thus knocking her unconscious. Azazel and the boyfriends were looking in shock and terror as Issei's brutality was finally beginning to show. Azazel knew that this is not gonna end well on either side. He wanted to stop Issei, but knew now he has become stronger to crush anyone that stood in his way. Kuroka, seeing her sister in injuries, tried to attack Issei with her fireballs, but Issei easily evaded with ease. Irina, die in the name of our dead gods. With that, Irina used her angel wings and tried to use the Excalibur mimic to try and damage Issei, but this only angered him as with a quick dodge, he easily moved her behind her and ripped her angel wings, after which he easily broke both her arms which had Excalibur mimic. Blood started to ooze from the place where she had her wings, resulting in tremendous blood loss. Irina, Issei, you really are pathetic, chanting a dead person's name while trying to kill me. Did you forget that I am no longer a devil, so holy weapons don't affect me? Now may the dead god forgive you, because I won't. With that, Issei drags his former childhood friend, damaging the furniture in the room. Irina screams in pain as the furniture is not only damaging her, but also due to the excess blood loss. Issei then proceeds to throw her out of the window, dealing several damage to her entire body as glass shrapnel enters into her body. Irina could be seen outside the window with several glass and furniture shards lodged into her body. She was whimpering and unconscious due to the pain and the damage. Kuroka, now having enough lunges at Issei using her claws enhanced with Tauki, she tried to mortally wound Issei, thus ending his rampage, but this only angered him even more as he easily grabbed her hands, causing Kuroka to view him in shock and fear. He proceeded to push her towards him, ripping out her cat ears. Kuroka winced in pain as she was struggling to use her abilities. Issei, seeing her in this condition, remembered all the times he tried to reunite her with her sister, angering him after being used by the Nekashu. He then proceeded to pummel her endlessly and finally ripping out her cat tails and burning it with his fire. Kuroka Gyhhhh. Issei then proceeded to use an energy wave coated with crimson and orange to deal a devastating blow towards Kuroka, burning most of her body but keeping her alive, knocking her out of the fight. Kaneko saw her sisters being brutally beaten and tried to use her Shiren form to have a fighting chance against him. Issei in response lunged at her and coated his arms in fiery red flames, singing her with each single punch, knocking her and severely damaging her body completely. Issei then created a fiery red orb of dragon magic and proceeded to fire at the entire alliance, knocking Biku, Fenrir and most of Sona Citri's peerage except Sagi, Tsubaki and Sona herself. And replace Frieza with Issei and the Saiyans with the alliance members. Also, Issei is not smiling in this situation. Sagi tried to use his absorption line to end Issei's rampage but was shocked to realize it did not work. Issei then proceeded to deliver a vicious haymaker to the Citri pawn, breaking several bones. Blood was flying everywhere and was not able to even deliver a single punch. Issei then proceeded to fling him over to a defeated Kiba who was now recovering. Kiba ohhhhhhhfukkk. With that, both the fighters were once again knocked out cold as Issei proceeded to lunge towards the fox leader Yasaka. Yasaka, you have gone far enough, Issei Hyoudou, but your rampage ends right here, right now. She then proceeds to transform into her fox form and uses chakra to try and hurt Issei, thus burning him, but it was not enough to put him down. He proceeds to lunge at her, dodging any fox fire that comes in the way. He grabs her by the hair and drags her around the ground, dealing a severe blow to the hair. She constantly struggled against the dragon's strength, blood smearing on the floor as he proceeds. Issei, once upon a time I saved you. I admired how you looked, but now I realize the stories were true. Fox yokai are nothing but cold-blooded killers who kill others for their own sadistic pleasure. I wonder how will you look without any tails attached to your body. If I can save you from your death, I can kill you as well. If I can give you life, I can take it away from you as well. Let's see how pain-tolerant you are. I know I have made Issei quite brutal, but he is constantly suffering cause of his parents' death as well as Asia's coma. Furthermore, the stories of fox yokai killing people is true. With a sadistic smirk on Issei's face, he proceeded to rip apart the tails on Yasaka, thus putting her through extreme pain, after which the dragon proceeded to deliver a powerful haymaker to the fox, breaking a lot of bones in her body. Yasaka tried to scream but could not because Issei was constantly giving blow after blow. After releasing her due to the vicious beating, Yasaka's body was rendered limp and lifeless. Everyone viewed Issei now in shock and terror, as the once friendly and heroic chestnut went too far. Sona and Riaz with their peerages were looking in fear towards their former friend. Vali and Azazel looked in terror as their teammate has been beyond broken and enraged beyond limits. Everyone started to recover as their energies started to increase. Riaz, Aquino and several others braced themselves to fight the enraged dragon. Irina, Kuroka and many others were still knocked out. Issei, knowing this, prepared himself for the inevitable clash. Issei, well then, I am ready for round 2. I am not going to go down without a fight, neither will you capture me alive. I can do this all day. Evil Dragon War 2. Continuing from the story last time, we see our hero Issei Hyoudou running towards what seems to be a jungle, away from the town of Kyo. He has scars and is badly wounded thanks to his fight with the faction, but he did manage to deal a severe amount of damage to the faction. Issei, I can't believe they betrayed me like this. Why? What did I do to deserve such treatment? Sure, I was a pervert, but I never harassed or even did something wrong. Why do I deserve this? First, my parents are dead, Asia is still in coma, and now I have no one left to help me in damned cursed world. Godammittt. Flashback. Issei is plowing through the faction like it was nothing. Ria's Gremory and her peerage have been badly injured. Yasaka, Kuroka, and Irina were unresponsive. Issei was dealing a vicious pummeling to both Sona Citri and her queen Tsubaki Shinra. They were unable to defend themselves from the chestnut's onslaught, when all of a sudden voice was heard from someone unexpected. Divide. Volley had joined the fight, trying his best to stop his brother's assault. He used his balance break to try and stop him. Issei, being weakened by Volley's sacred gear, was unable to keep up with Volley given that he was exhausted destroying a faction leader and 3 peerages. Azazel had a shocked expression in his face seeing Volley step him. Volley, Issei, you need to stop this. You have been torturing them for long enough. I can't see you like this fighting your former friends. I beg you to please stop. Issei, Volley, do not interfere. You were not the one to lose your sacred gear. You did not see Albion trying to save you while sacrificing his own life for your own good. You did not see your parents die in front of you. Yet here you are siding with the same faction indirectly responsible for their deaths. Asia is in coma and they don't even care in the slightest for her condition. They all brought their demises on themselves when they betrayed, mentally tortured, and finally discarded me when I was completely useless to them. Volley was already nervous in fighting someone who gave him a second chance. Now he had no will in fighting him. Yes, he was angry at Issei hurting Kuroka, but at the same time knew that she had done that herself when she provoked and betrayed him. He wanted to at least subdue Issei, but now he did not know what to do. When Volley was thinking, Surzets finally decided to step in and attack Issei with his move, Ruin of Extinction. He had an angered look on his face for not only destroying his sister's peerage, but also for destroying his pride and humiliating him in front of everyone. Issei, being already weakened, could not evade or take on the attack, thus damaging him and putting him out of commission. Surzets, Issei Hyoudou, you have gone too far with your attacks and not only damaged my world but also my family. Now you will pay for your attempt destroying the alliance as well as hurting my dear sister. I will destroy anyone that is against my view of the world as well as my ideology. Did you really think you could defeat all of us? Azazel, Surzets, stop this, don't kill him. He is the reason that the alliance was created and its expansion. Not to mention your sister would have been a sex slave to Riser and her peerage would have been dead if it wasn't for his actions. Volley, I thought you promised that you would capture and arrest him if I had helped you in capturing him. I didn't think you would turn on me like this. I at least thought you still had honor in you since he is the reason that we are all still together. But I was wrong. You are no different from RageRevan, the one actually responsible for Draig's death. Surzets, shut up you two. I don't care anymore about what happens. To me, he is nothing but a weak enemy who tried to attack all of us. And Volley, you wanted him dead at some point because of your rivalry with a dragon who is now dead. Are you really telling me to not kill him now that he does not have Draig with him? You really are pathetic. Now then, Hyoudou, get ready for your demise in the worst possible way possible. Surzets began to torture Issei using his signature move Ruin of Extinction, dealing severe burns to his entire body. His full body started to disintegrate due to his move, killing every single cell in his body, his dragonic body only prolonging his supposed demise. Issei began to scream in pain due to the pod constantly damaging his body in a slow manner. It was painful dying in such a slow manner. Surzets began to laugh in a maniacal manner as he tortured his former brother-in-law. That laugh was kinda creepy, and yes, replaced Surzets with light. His laughter was stopped by Issei spitting on his face. Issei weakly said while coughing due to the excruciating pain. Issei, you know I respected you. I looked up to you not only as a leader *cough, but also as an older brother. But you know what, I was wrong about you. You are a pathetic excuse for leader as well as an older sibling. You do not deserve those titles, as they are meant to protect the faction younger from attackers and deliver justice to those that harm them. You did cough all this for what? What did I do? Tell me. All I did was serve you with honor. I did not betray you like a certain someone, but still you not only torture me cough, but also mocked me for your own sadistic pleasure. I cannot fight you, at least not in this state, but remember this, you better be ready for what comes next. You will learn that your actions have consequences. Cough. With that, Issei managed to escape, creating a portal to a random location before Surzets could unleash his final attack to kill him. Surzets was furious and had lost all of his patience. His true colors had been exposed to both Volley and Azazel, who looked at him in shame and disgust. He screamed with anger in his voice. Surzets juih, damn you hyu. Flashback ends. Issei, oh right, I cannot forget or forgive them for what they have done, but Azazel and Volley are innocent. Maybe I will spare them. As for the others, I will never forgive them, especially the Gremory family. They will know the true meaning of suffering. Issei started to tear up as he remembered the moments he had with the orc, with the Gremory family, sacrificing his arm for the woman he once loved, the alliance, the Kyoto trip, the fight with Sagorg Bale, the confession, his demise at the hands of Shalba, his revival, his reunion with the orc, saving Valerie, the fight against the exorcists, and finally his fight with RageRevan, the man who took everything away from him. Partner. Issei, great, now I am hallucinating about Draig. This has taken too much of a toll. I am not dead yet, partners. Issei, Draig, you're still alive, how? Draig, glad to finally talk to you. As for how am I alive, I asked the past hosts, the ones that are left, that is to merge my consciousness with yours, An. If you are wondering about the ones that are left, is because a huge chunk of the past host's consciousness was sacrificed in order to revive Issei after his death in the aftermath of his fight with Shalba. It feels good to be finally free of the boosted gear. Not only you have the powers of both Great Red and Off Eyes, but you also now have my powers as well. Issei, Draig, partner, I know what the faction leaders did. How could they betray you after everything you did for them, after all of your sacrifices? Even that Grmory girl who was supposed to stand with you until the very end turned her back on you, along with the Knight, the Crow, the Brinded Knight, and the Angel. Draig, not to mention your actions resulted in the Yokai faction serving the creation of the Alliance. You have defeated threats like evil dragons, kept up with Crom Crotch, befriended Off Eyes and Great Red. They will pay for their actions with their life. Issei, in a teary voice, I cannot believe that you are still alive, and even more so you are still on my side after everything they did to me. I don't know what to say. Thank you for everything, Draig. Draig, you were my best partner. Not only did you become strong to protect the people you care about, but you were the first person who saw me as a person and not as a tool for someone to use and discard. Even though you gave me the nickname of Oppai Dragon, you still cared for me when I cried hearing that word. You were always there for me as a friend and brother, and did not discard me when I was the lowest. Issei, thank you, Draig. Thank you so much. I hope you have not forgotten us. Hey hatchling, how are you doing? Issei recognized those voices. He turned around and saw a 100-meter-long dragon along with a lowly girl dressed in gothic fashion. They were none other than Off Eyes and Great Red, the Ouroboros and the True Dragon, respectively. Issei, Off Eyes, Great Red, it is good to see you. At least there are some people that still care for me. Great Red, what's wrong, hatchling? Off Eyes, yeah, I do not see your friends or anyone from the faction leader around you. Plus you do not have the aura of a devil. Issei, some friends they are. Great Reds, what happened? Why are they not around you? And what did you mean by that? Issei then explained to everyone what had happened. He even showed his wounds and a recording as further proof to tell them. To say they were angry would be an understatement. They were livid. Great Red roared in anger. Off Eyes, on the other hand, kept a neutral expression but was giving an aura of bloodlust. Off Eyes, so what are you gonna do now, brother? Off Eyes said it a monotone voice, but everyone present knew that she was furious. Issei knew that if they were let loose, they would destroy everything. Issei, don't worry, Off Eyes, Great Red, I am going to take vengeance for everything they have done. Azazel, Volley, Gasper, and Roswis are innocent, but if they get in my way, they will be destroyed as well. As for the others, no one will escape. Great Red, if you ever need us, hatchling, don't hesitate to call us. We will be ready to help you. Off Eyes, I would love to beat down that super devil. Before both Great Red and Off Eyes could leave, all three of them were teleported to another dimension. There they saw something so terrifying that they froze. Hello there. Issei, where am I? Issei could see that he was in a dimension where the beast 666 was being imprisoned. It had the appearance of a large beast with characteristics coming from different animals like a lion, a leopard, a bear, a dragon, etc. It has 7 necks, 7 heads with 10 horns, as well as 7 long thick tails of different shapes. It also has 4 stout arms and 2 legs that are even thicker than its arms. Its main body is that of a primate leaning forward and is covered in black fur and what appears to be scales all over its body. Its size is well over several hundred meters, making it significantly larger than even Great Red. Off Eyes, what do you want from us, Trihexa? Trihexa, do not worry, I mean you three no harm. Actually, I was planning to only bring Issei to my dimension, but you two came along with me. /N, even though in canon Trihexa is confirmed to exist only to destroy, it has a well-built consciousness, like it was able to take interest in Issei Hyoudou when he had Great Red and Off Eyes' power. Even more so, it was able to divide its body to deal with the different factions during the arc. Furthermore, it is assumed to be instinctively homicidal. That does not mean it is homicidal. Issei, so why am I here? Trihexa, well, I wanted to tell you what that damn RageRevan's plan is. He wanted to use the Sephiroth Grawl from the vampire in order to release me, as it possesses the ability to come into contact with the principle of life in order to try and control me, and use me as a war beast to destroy everything. Issei knew about 666's abilities and knew how destructive they are. Even though at first he was angry hearing the name of his parents' murderer, he knew that if he got his hands on the beast, everything will be destroyed. Great Red, so what do you want us to do? Trihexa, I was planning to merge myself with the boy so that he can put a stop to the madman's plan. This would also help him with his vengeance against the one who turned their backs on him. It will be painful, but you will be much stronger than you were before. This was a tempting offer for the chestnut. Not every day does the strongest being in the universe, but also he would be able to get back on the people that turned his back on him just cause he lost Draig. Issei, Draig, what should I do? Draig, if I were you, I would have taken up the offer. I mean, it is not like Trihexa would give such an offer. Issei, yeah, I think you're right. Draig, plus we have nothing left to lose. Issei, alright, let's do this. Issei was in his thoughts when Great Red roared. Great Red, how do we not know that you are planning to destroy the world? How do you know what happened to Issei while you were sealed? Can we even trust you? Trihexa sarcastically replies, well, I knew of RageRevan's plan, why wouldn't I figure out what his past is, and plus when I merge with Issei I will have his thoughts and intentions, so I will not destroy everything. Plus I am not forcing him to merge with me, it is his choice. Plus cut me some slack, the factions were really annoying with their war. Issei, alright Trihexa, I accept your offer. Off Eyes and Great Red, are you sure Issei it will be painful? Issei, guys, I have nothing left to lose. As for the painful part, I have been stabbed with light spears when I was a devil, merged a divine dividing part with me and survived Samuel's blood. This ain't my first rodeo. Both Great Red and Off Eyes knew about Samuel's poison, with the latter personally experiencing it due to Cao Cao. They both nodded their head in acceptance. Off Eyes and Great Red, alright big brother hatchling, we trust you. Trihexa, are you ready for this, Issei? Issei, yes I am. Trihexa decided to merge with Issei. The process was quite painful, with Issei screaming throughout the entire process. Both Great Red and Off Eyes wanted to help, but couldn't since it may trigger an unintended consequence. Issei wanted to pass out due to the pain, but remembered the betrayal of the Alliance that gave him enough determination to survive the entire process. Issei passed out after the process was done. Off Eyes rushed to her first friend, showing emotions for the very first time, crying for him. The dragon opens his eyes. Issei, hey, how long was I out? Off Eyes, Baka sniff, please don't die on me. Issei, don't worry Off Eyes, I won't, I will always be there with you. Great Red, so hatchling, how are you feeling? Issei, I feel great, kinda powerful. Now I think I am ready for what needs to be done next. All three of them were teleported outside the dimension back to where they were. Great Red, I know you are strong, but if things go south, call us. We would be happy to help you in your crusade. Off Eyes, yeah, and I would enjoy breaking several bones. Issei, don't worry guys, I will call you. Meanwhile, back at the Alliance. Xerxes had lied to the angels, devils, yokai, as well as the Norse and Greek faction about Issei's betrayal and death. Most of them were shocked, to say the least. The children were devastated that their hero fell to the dark side. Milikas and Kanu were hit the hardest. The brother they looked up to injured their aunt mother in such a brutal manner. Several of them didn't believe what Xerxes said. They felt he was hiding something, especially Kanu and Milikas found something fishy but did not want to go against their parents. Grafia, Sagorg, Riser were shocked as well as their brother betrayed them so badly. Grafia felt like crying. Sagorg and Riser clenched their fists and punched the ground. They felt that something was wrong in this situation. Grafia wanted to believe her master and husband but knew that he was hiding something. As for the orc, only Aquino and Zenobia were conscious. The others were still being treated for their wounds. Riaz along with Kaneko were in their worst affected state since they were singed by Issei's abilities. Roswis and Gasper did not believe what Issei did, with the latter finding it quite disturbing to even think that Issei would turn their back on them without a reason. Both of them refused to believe in Issei's death. Yasaka was still in a coma due to the brutality of Issei's assault on her. Several doctors assumed that she is not gonna wake up anytime soon. The Yakai faction, except Kanu, immediately believed that Issei betrayed them and turned their backs on them. Kanu wanted to investigate the reason behind Issei's betrayal and death before jumping to conclusions. Irina was still being healed, the glass and furniture shards being hard to remove from her body by the angel healer Raphael. She was still unconscious. Michael could only look at her in disgust and pity as she turned on her childhood friend. Michael, she is responsible for her own fate. The volley team was still fine. Arthur, Volley, and Fenrir were the only conscious ones on team, with the others being knocked out, healing for their wounds. Arthur was furious at what Issei did to his sister. Volley, on the other hand, was ashamed at himself. He trusted a man who turned his back on his brother and nearly got him killed. He could see Kuroka being escorted to medical bay as she was in critical condition due to the burns as well as her broken body parts. Volley looked at her. Volley, you brought this on yourself, Kuroka. If you only didn't push him so far, you wouldn't be in this condition. You should have stayed at bay and not provoke him when he was at his most angry. I hope this serves as a lesson to not anger a dragon ever again. Even back during the party when you tried to kidnap Kaneko, Issei tried not to kill you. If he wanted to, he could have easily killed you for being a stray. You would be in a better shape. He left her in the ward with her injuries being treated. Little did they know that the Chaos Brigade will no longer be their biggest threat, but a former friend is gonna attack them. It is the calm before the storm. Evil Dragon War 3. Continuing from the story last time, Issei successfully merged with Trihexa, and both Draig and Trihexa decided to train their host, with the latter mostly focusing on teaching his skills and improving his abilities to match the factions. After a 2-month time skip, Issei has not only mastered all of Draig and Trihexa's abilities, but also created new ones along with it. No perverted techniques involved. Now our hero is ready for his vengeance against the factions. We see our hero Issei Hyoudou resting after fighting the Citri Peerage, happy with their fate. Issei has taken vengeance against them, leading to their complete annihilation. Issei also managed to gain the absorption line after torturing and killing the Citri Ponjin Shiro Saji. He was pretty content since he wasn't that brutal compared to what he was gonna do to with the Gremory Peerage and the others, since they only rebuked him. Issei, that felt good. Dealing with that prideful Sona Citri was the best part of my vengeance. As for the others, they weren't much of a challenge. Saji was stupid to think he could keep up with me. He wasn't able to even land a single hit on me. Although I may miss the guy since we were fellow pawns, but I won't show any of the traitors mercy. They will be GTTING what they deserve for their betrayal. Draig, you sure as hell taught them a lesson. Let's hope that in their next life they will not be as stupid as they are. Also, your assault on them sent a clear message that the Red Dragon Emperor is back. Trihexa, I agree with Draig, although I am disappointed at the others for their weakness. I mean, they died against our first attack. I am impressed with the resilience the pawn showed even after getting his ass handed to him. I really enjoyed their screams when they were in pain after you trashed them. I enjoyed the fear and hate in their faces after realizing that you were still alive. Even though Trihexa is merged with Issei, he still has the instinctiveness of destroying everything. The only difference is that he now is able to rationally think, thus reducing his desire for destruction by a significant amount. Still, you are a sadist, aren't you, Trihexa? Trihexa, oh shut it Vitra, don't deny that you are happy to be rid from being a slave to the Citri family, plus even you enjoyed their screams. Draig, perks of being an evil dragon. Vitra, sigh, I guess you are right Trihexa, I still have the perks of an evil dragon. I am mostly happy to be rid of being a slave to that cocky pawn and his prideful master. Flashback. The Citri peerage decided to investigate an aura familiar to that of the Red Dragon Emperor. Even though Sona felt that it was a bad idea, Serafal and Surzech convinced her to recruit this new being in existence. Little did they know that this would be their biggest mistake, costing their lives. The being, on sensing their presence, immediately attacked them with an immense power blast, wiping out and killing most of the Citri peerage, except Saji, Tsubaki and Sona, the latter being protected by Tsubaki's sacred gear Mirror Alice. Saji had severe burns on his body but was still able to stand up ready to capture this being. Sona no Momo Tsubasa Reya Tama Ruroko Benya. Sona tears up at the sight of her whole peerage being almost murdered. She then notices Saji, her only pawn left. She started to get afraid and angry towards whoever did this to her peerage. Sona, concerned, Saji, are you okay? Saji, I can still fight Kaicho. Tsubaki, whoever you are, show yourself, you cold-blooded murder. Out in front of the trees, they could see a being donning a familiar red armor. They instantly recognized the armor to be that of the Red Dragon Emperor. They started to get a familiar feeling of knowing who this unknown being is. Credit to Google for all images. Geez, will you stop showing your cold demeanor for once, Fuko Kaicho? They froze on hearing this. They realized that the voice belonged to someone, belonged to the person that they once called a friend, an ally. The one that has been dead for 2 months, yet he has been dead for 2 months. Their faces now showed fear, the one they felt 2 months ago when a certain dragon was killed in cold blood. Sona, no, it can't be. You still don't recognize me, Kaicho. The being removes his helmet and a familiar face of none other than Issei Hyoudou is seen by the trio, except his appearance has been altered. Instead of having brown hair and eyes, he instead has black with red tinges as well as a reddish-brown eyes. He has a scar on his face due to Trihexa's training. Saji, Hyoudou, you are fucking alive. How dare you kill MYTAMATS in cold blood? Sona, you will pay for what you did to my team Hyoudou. I will avenge my peerage's demise by murdering you in cold blood. Issei, oh Sona, the blast which I used wasn't even 1% of my power. I thought you were smarter than this. I guess I was wrong. You disappoint me. Sona, alright, that's it. Saji, get him and make sure it is painful. Saji, with pleasure, Kaicho. Saji lunges at the former Gremory pawn with all his strength, but easily sidestepped and applied a point-blank dragon shot to his chest. Saji coughed up saliva and was sent flying. He tried to attack Issei again but was outmatched by the dragon. In response, Issei started giving him a vicious haymaker. Saji broke all his bones and was unable to move even an inch. Issei then summoned a Scalon, cutting Saji's flesh, making his skin burn. Saji screamed in pain and terror, as this was the same incident that caused him nightmares for days and weeks. Issei then flung him to the sky, dealing massive uppercut, breaking his jawbone. Saji GYAHITHURTS, it fucking HURTS. How are you this strong? You are even more stronger than you were supposed to be. Issei, I have been training, and unlike you, I have not been slacking off. Saji, hearing this, decided to use his absorption line in order to suck out his power. Draig, what an idiot he is. It didn't work last time. What makes him think it would work now? Issei, you just did exactly what I wanted. Hey Vitra. Vitra, what do you want, Sekurute? Issei, well, I have an offer for you. I want you to join my side, help me against my vengeance. When Saji used his absorption line on me, I saw what you wanted. You wanted to be free of Saji. He was not treating you with respect or even like a person. He only saw you as a tool. I will not treat you the way he does. I want to form an alliance with you. Draig, partner is right. Look at me, I was always used as a tool. But when Issei came along, he is the first to ask me for power rather than use me as a tool. Vitra knew that Issei and Draig were telling the truth. Saji never trained, he never got strong. He only trained because of that prideful master, else he never did train. He thought his beatdown at the hands of the Securite will teach him a lesson, but it didn't. He started to slack off even more. Furthermore, even after being requested by him, Saji just shot down Vitra requests without even hearing them. He only saw them as a tool. He was so weak that he didn't even lay a takedown any threat and even lost miserably to Yasaka while he was trying to save her from the hero faction. He has not even unlocked his balance breaker yet while Issei unlocked his months ago. Vitra, I accept your offer, but in order to obtain my gears you have to kill my current host. Issei, consider it done, my Dragon King. Saji was seeing red. He didn't realize Vitra would turn his back on him. He began to blame Issei for taking Vitra away from him. Sona and Tsubaki were in complete shock. They tried to escape using a magic portal, but something was disrupting their magic circles. Issei, don't even think about escaping from the portal. I have created a force field that prevents you from escaping. It is similar to the gates of hell. It lets you enter, but it doesn't allow you to escape. Saji Dammnutraitoorr, how did you get this strong? Issei, how about instead of telling you I show you? Issei shows his training methods as well as his merging with Draig and Trihexa, along with their intense training on him. Saji, I am fucked, aren't I? Issei, right in the down under Welsh Dragon Flare. Issei unleashed an intense firestorm, utterly burning the entire arena. Despite being way weakened to reduce the damage, it was still enough to kill the pawn. Saji died screaming and cursing Issei Hyoudou before being reduced to nothing but ashes. All three sacred gears were there where Saji was once standing. Issei then incorporated all three sacred gears into his body. Sona and Tsubaki started to realize their fate. They knew that Issei is gonna give them a miserable demise. They looked at the dragon with fear and hatred. They knew that there was nothing he could do. Before they could react, Issei killed Tsubaki using a scalon before she could even react. Sona and Tsubaki. Sona's eyes had dried out due to the tears she shed considering her entire peerage's demise. She knew what came next. Sona, just finish the job. Hyoudou, I don't have a reason to live. Issei, normally I would love to keep you alive after considering how little you cared for me, but I unfortunately cannot do so. I cannot reveal my existence to the factions, at least not yet, but do not worry, I will give you a painless death. Extinction Ray. Sona closed her eyes as she knew her death was inevitable. At the very least, she would be given peace in the afterlife. Flashback ends. Issei, I will be honest, I feel bad that I went too far. I knew they deserve this. I wanted vengeance, but I am kinda having second thoughts of doing this. Now you must be wondering why Issei said this. It is because he is still the kind-hearted man we all know. I mean, he may be a pervert, but he has never took advantage of women. It is just that in this AU, the Alliance has pushed him to such an extent that he has been completely broken and vengeful due to the betrayal of the Alliance. Draig, it just shows that you haven't changed. You are still the kind-hearted host that I grew to respect. You haven't changed at all. Vitra, Draig is right. Your thoughts are still the same. You are still a man that would go to any lengths to protect the people you care for. Your thoughts are the proof that you have not been consumed by hatred. I mean, when you used Draig's ability, you made sure to reduce the intensity to reduce the damage of your surroundings. Trihexa, I never thought I would be saying this, but I am happy that I merged with you. You are the only person that has seen me beyond being this destructive entity in the training of 2 months. I will follow you to the end, and I will be eternally grateful for helping me being released from that damn prison. Issei, thank you guys for sticking with me and for saying all this. Now let's go and celebrate our victory. All dragons agreed and roared in joy. They all wanted to go and have ramen in a nearby noodle shop. They ate to their heart's content. Meanwhile, with the Alliance, it is a pretty grim day for the devils as the Sona Citri, heiress of the Citri along with her peerage, had been killed in just a single night. Several devil scouts had found body parts of the team lying around at the scene where the battle took place, while Issei was away enjoying with the dragons. A funeral was being held for the deceased with only Sona's hand being found. A woman's cry could be heard throughout the funeral hall. This was Seraphal Leviathan, sister of the deceased Sona Citri. Seraphal, in a crying manner, knew, "Oh Sona-chan, you cannot leave me like this, all alone in this world. What would I do without you?" Continues to weep. Both Lady and Lord Citri were crying for the loss of their daughter. They never found out who did such an heinous act. They weren't aware of what their daughters did or the Mao's betrayal towards Issei, the Red Dragon Emperor. Riaz also teared up at the grim sight of her friend in such a brutal condition. She wondered who could it be who had such a vendetta against her and her peerage. She could only think about one person, her ex-fiancé Issei Hyoudou, but assumed that like the others he was dead. Over the 2 months she started to feel guilty about what she did to Issei. She started to miss him, but knew that if he was alive he would never forgive her. Now she is regretting turning her back on him. As for the other members of Ria's peerage, they were all shocked. Akino was hit the hardest since Sona and Tsubaki were pretty close friends of hers. This didn't make it any better as her father no longer talks to her, since a few weeks ago because of her cheating and turning on the man that gave her everything she would have wanted. She wanted to weep thinking about those memories. Flashback. Barakil, Azazel told me everything. I can't believe you would betray him in such a manner. After everything he has done for you, he is the reason that you have been happy for so long, that you have accepted me, after what you went through because of your mother's demise. You have gotten over your fear of your fallen angel blood cause of him, damn it. Akino, I didn't mean to. Barakil, do not talk to me, Akino. From here on out I am not gonna talk to you. I still can't believe you would do such a damn thing. Your mother would be so ashamed of what you have done. Akino, no please. Barakil, silence brat. Barakil had raised his aura, dousing Akino's. He then flew away since he could not hurt his daughter. I didn't make Barakil disown his daughter because he still loves her, because she is his only family left, plus I am not that cruel. Flashback ends. Even Surzech, Segorg, and Riser, along with their peerages, were also disturbed at the grim sight. Surzech refused to believe that Issei is still alive, as he made sure that the blast would kill him. Surzech eventually calls Riaz and her peerage to his office. He also calls Vali and his team to investigate what happened in the forest and who is this being that killed Sona and her peerage. Surzech, now you know why I have called you here. I would like you to investigate the area where the fight could happen, since this would be a very powerful ally if they could join us. If they refuse to join us, do not hesitate to kill this man. Vali, but isn't going to that forest suicide? I mean, you saw how brutally they were killed in the forest. The scouting party was lucky since he was not present. Surzech, I know this is a bad idea, but I need to take a risk. We need a strong person to lead the alliance to victory, since we killed Issei Hyoudou, so we need someone much stronger than him to recreate the alliance to its former glory. The Norse and the Greek faction have cut ties with us. The Yokai faction leader is still in coma due to her injuries. Even Kuroka and Kiba have not awoken from their comas. Riaz, alright big brother, we accept your offer to go and scout for this powerful individual. I may even try to torture him since he killed my best friend so brutally. Surzech, do what you must, Riaz, but I want him on my side or dead. They all leave for the forest by sundown. Meanwhile with Issei. Issei knew that a scouting party had come since the body parts were missing. Even the dragons realized what had happened. They decided to make haste with their plan so that the faction leaders don't realize he was still alive. He decided to fulfill Trihexa's request of killing RageRevan. He heads towards Augars, where the Kulipoth's base of operations, where he easily kills all the soldiers and guards that are guarding the area. Even evil dragons like Ladon, Yamada no Orochi, and Nidhurger couldn't stand a chance against him, since he easily plowed through the 3 dragons like it was nothing. All 3 dragons, how are you this strong? Issei, unlike you guys, I trained with some special beings, so I am much stronger than any of you 3. Ladon, we are willing to side with you, please help us, save us. Issei, well, I will be sparing you, Ladon. As for the other 2, I have no intention of sparing 2 mindless beasts. Issei uses a Kai blast, killing both Yamada no Orochi and Nidhurger with ease. He and Ladon then proceed to confront the man responsible for the death of not only countless people, but also Issei's parents, RageRevan, Liv, and Lucifer. Issei sees RageRevan waiting for him along with his ally Dihasur Belial. Issei, gritted at the sight of the man who killed his parents, as well as Dihasur, the man he once looked up to, when he was once the pawn of Ria's Gremory. Issei and Ladon prepared themselves to fight against the Super Devil and the raiding game champion. RageRevan, well, what do we have here? Issei RageRevan. Issei said that name in venom. RageRevan, wait, it can't be. Issei-kun, is that you? You have become really powerful. I never knew you could be such a threat to the Alliance. After all, you are the mysterious being, aren't you? The one the faction leaders want to know so desperately about. RageRevan said in a pleasing tone. He also wanted to recruit this mysterious being. Issei could only grit his teeth in response to what this megalomaniac told about him. But he kept his anger in check because he knows that RageRevan was manipulating him for his own benefit. Issei, you know me too well, it seems like. RageRevan, I have an offer for you, Issei-kun. How about you join us? Together we both can deal with the factions. They wouldn't stand a chance against us. Issei, counter offer, surrender yourself to the factions or die a miserable death. RageRevan, it looks like we are at an impasse. Then Issei-kun. Issei, let's fight already. Issei lunges at RageRevan, who was expecting to activate his sacred gear canceller, but the super devil was shocked when he realized that the gear was not working. In response, Issei smirked, angering the super devil. He then proceeded to deal a vicious haymaker to RageRevan, who was barely able to counter the dragon's attacks. He tried to use his magic, which actually managed to push Issei back by a little bit. RageRevan, I am amazed at your strength. You not only have become stronger, Issei-kun, but also more resilient and tactful in your approach, but it is not gonna be enough to kill me once and for all. Issei, well, let's turn up things to a notch then, shall we? You have only been facing me at 5% of my power. RageRevan got angry at the fact that Issei underestimated him. He decided to lose himself into anger given the prideful devil he is, but Issei was prepared against the man who took everything away from him. He coated his fist with a rainbow color and proceeded to keep up with the super devil's assaults. He then proceeded to rip apart one of RageRevan's arms, who screamed in pain and agony as Issei was easily able to overwhelm the super devil with almost very little strength. He decided to use some phoenix tears to heal himself up from the damage. Issei, will you stop using the tears and fight fair? RageRevan, hello, terrorist here. Issei, soon to be dead one. Issei was constantly getting annoyed with the constant regeneration and the barrage of attacks he was throwing. Issei easily dodged all of them and easily countered the super devil with a block and a direct punch to the face. Replace the fighters with both Issei and RageRevan does not dodge the attack. RageRevan was starting to get tired from Issei's attacks. He was also running out of phoenix tears and was proceeded to get brutalized with constant attacks from Issei. Issei left no opportunities for RageRevan to recover since he was brutally beating him, breaking every single bone in his body. Eventually, RageRevan was on the ground bloody and beaten due to the vicious onslaught by Issei Hyoudou. He could not keep up with him anymore, and he collapsed due to exhaustion and pain in his body. Issei, congratulations RageRevan, you made me use only 20% of my power. You should be proud. RageRevan could only gasp at Issei's revelation. He knew that he couldn't do anything to stop Issei. He looked at him in fear. Issei then used a beam of light, immediately killing him. RageRevan, you fool, killing me will only release the beast. Now no one can stop the beast. Issei, allow me to introduce to someone. Trihexa, hello RageRevan. RageRevan, no, it can't be. Issei, yes, it is RageRevan. The one you are talking to is Trihexa. We knew of your plan to use the Grail to control him, so we had something planned for you. Trihexa merged with me so that he would not only be free from the sealed prison, but also he would foil your plan of conquering the world. RageRevan, damn you, Issei, damn you. Issei, now begone, extinction sphere. RageRevan screamed as the sphere closed in on Issei, killing him in the most painful way possible. Issei felt at peace as the murder of his parents has finally been avenged. He wanted to rest for a while when he heard Ladon calling for him. Apparently he had already managed to defeat Dihauser with ease given that his evil dragon physiology allowed him to tank all of his physical attacks. The former champion had surrendered himself to the dragon. Dihauser explained the reason why he turned on the factions, understanding the same thing he went through due to them finding out that his sister found the existence of the King Peace, and therefore he turned on the devils. Issei understood the reasoning behind what he did, and asked whether he would join his crusade against the devils. When the champion asked why, Issei told him everything. Dihauser was pissed and disgusted at far the alliance had fallen. Dihauser, I am with you, Issei. I heard what Surzech did to you and I accept that we need to deal with him before it is too late. I will help you in your vengeance. Issei, thank you Dhosser. Ladon, what are you gonna do next? Are you gonna join me or be free? Ladon, being free is not an option as I would be hunted by the factions, so I might as well stay in the Chaos Brigade. Over time, the Killapoth and the Chaos Brigade accepted the mysterious being as their leader. RageRevan's true intentions were revealed, causing everyone to turn on him and accept this mystery man as their leader. Issei asked both Dhosser and Ladon to not reveal his identity to anyone, which they accepted. Eventually, the factions got to know about this and gave up on him, and he was deemed as the new #1 threat to the existence of the Alliance. A lot of the supernatural started to give up and fear this mysterious leader since he single-handedly destroyed RageRevan. Surzets and the other leaders deemed him as a terrorist, and the one who would reveal the identity would be rewarded. Evil Dragon War 4. Continuing from our story from last time, we see that our hero Issei became the Chaos Brigade leader. His presence as the mysterious being shocked everyone and most of all the factions who desperately wanted to recruit him into their ranks because of his dangerous amount of aura and his abilities. Meanwhile, at the factions, we can see the factions including Azazel and Odin gathering around to discuss on how to deal with the Chaos Brigade after a new and powerful leader had been elected. They realize they needed to deal with this new threat before it is too late. They knew on how dangerous he was since he single-handedly killed the entire Citri peerage as well as killing RageRevan. Surzets, you know, for what I have called you for right, I am grateful for all you appearing to help in this situation, especially Azazel and Odin. Both Azazel and Odin only gritted their teeth in response to the Devil King's statement. They knew what he did, turned his back on someone who gave them a reason for existing, someone who would have given his life to protect the Alliance, someone who would sacrifice anything just to see his loved ones alive. Azazel particularly despised Surzets for killing his surrogate son. The only reason he was here is because the new leader of the Chaos Brigade was a sort of a threat. He was happy that RageRevan was killed by him, but at the same time he didn't know what his intentions were. As for Odin, he was informed by Azazel about the leader's actions. Even he was livid at what they did, but kept it controlled given that he did not want to ruin their relations with the faction leaders. Yasaka had awoken from her coma after being brutally beaten by Issei and was happy that the dragon is dead. Azazel, don't Surzets, the only reason we are here is because of this underlying threat that has appeared. Otherwise, I and Odin would have never even shown up to this meeting to meet you ever again. Odin agreed with Azazel's statement. Surzets was angry that his pride was hurt but kept quiet. Yasaka, so what is the plan? How are we gonna identify this being? Odin, he has a pattern in his actions. He is taking vengeance from everyone that has hurt Issei or his relatives, first Sona and her peerage, and then finally that damned super devil RageRevan Lucifer. He also didn't attack the scouting party when they investigating what had happened there. Azazel, Odin is right. RageRevan took away his parents from him just like he made Vali's childhood a living nightmare. And as for Sona, she kicked him out of the school along with Saji, who not only threatened him but also attacked him. Serafal, don't mention that being in front of me. He is the reason my Sotan is dead. I will take my vengeance. Azazel, she was responsible for her own fate. She betrayed Issei just like you did. She listened to you blindly without knowing that her actions had consequences. She is the only one to be blamed. Serafal was angered at the fallen angel governor's statement but had kept her mouth shut as she could not do anything. She was nowhere as strong as RageRevan and this unknown being who single-handedly killed him. Surzets, guys, stop fighting. We have a problem to deal with. Michael, Surzets is right. We need to deal with him before it is too late. Surzets, I have a plan. I already told Riaz and her peerage to go to the Agar Stadium to investigate against the mystery leader. I am pretty sure even without Issei, they are at least strong enough to find the mystery person's identity. Azazel, don't be stupid. Surzets, sending Riaz and her team to investigate is a suicide. I managed to convince Vali to not go to that area. Remember what happened with Sona Citri and her team when she was sent to investigate the area? They were all killed by that being. Surzets, I am confident in my sister's abilities to at least investigate this being. If not, she can easily teleport out of there if things go south or if the Chaos Brigade finds out about us. Azazel tried to say something, but realized that all suggestions would be ignored by the Devil King. He didn't listen when he tried to convince both Serafal and Surzets to not send the Citri peerage to investigate the area alone. He knew how deadly the area was because of its dangerous aura. He decided it is better if the devil gets his pride crushed when he realizes that he not only underestimated the being, but also he may end up nearly losing his sister in the process. Odin and Michael tried to convince Surzets to not send Riaz and her team alone, but even they were unable to convince Surzets. They eventually gave up and both decided to return home. Little did they know that Michael was gonna receive a shock of his life. While Michael was away, the Chaos Brigade attacked Heaven, killing several low and mid-class angels while they were defending Heaven, and managed to capture its intended target. The leader of the Chaos Brigade even managed to severely wound Dulio, Michael's Joker, towards the brink of death. Michael was shocked and disturbed when he saw the grim sight of dead angels as well as Raphael and Gabriel trying to heal the wounded. Michael, what happened to your Gabriel? Raphael. Gabriel, the Chaos Brigade had attacked us once again. They did all this a few hours ago. The casualties were luckily minimal, but they got what they wanted. Their leader managed to capture the target. If you're wondering about Heaven being attacked twice, it is because the Chaos Brigade had already attacked Heaven before Issei did so under the lead of RageRevan. This happened in canon. Plus, Ladon was not sealed in this reality, but was instead killed by Riaz, and RageRevan had him revived using the Holy Grail. The battle ended with RageRevan obtaining the Fruit of Wisdom and Fruit of Life in this reality, just like in canon. Michael, who was it? Raphael, your ace, Issei Hyoudou. Michael was stunned. He knew that she was one of the few that had injured and even mocked Issei Hyoudou, even though he specifically told her not to do so. He knew that this leader is someone close to Issei. Worst, he could be him. He just hoped that his fears are not true. Meanwhile, at Agar's Chaos Brigade HQ, Irina could be seen strapped to her chair. She woke up seeing several seals preventing her from using her powers or escaping from the chair. She tried to escape when she heard a voice. Hey, you've been busy. That voice sounded familiar. Issei approached in his red dragon armor, not trying to immediately show his face. He approached a very distressed and fearful Irina. Irina tried to control her rage. Irina, who the hell are you and why have you tied me like this? Issei, Awa, don't be like that, you are our prisoner. It is not wise to piss of the warden. Irina, show your face, only cowards hide behind a mask. You are nothing but a cold-blooded killer. Issei, geez, you really haven't changed. If you want to see my face so badly, then I might as well show it. Issei deactivates his armor. She knew who this man was, her former childhood friend Issei Hyoudou. Not only his voice was familiar, but also his face as well. She saw his reddish-black hair instead of his chestnut hair, as well as green pupils instead of his usual brown-colored pupils. To say the angel was shocked is an understatement. She was terrified of him not only being alive, but also being much stronger than he used to be. He saw her hatred in her eyes towards her former friend for beating her to a pulp. Draig, her face is priceless. I wish I had a camera to record. Trihexa, good, let the hate flow through you. Vitra sighed at the statement, but was also enjoying the angel's look of fear and hatred. Trihexa, haha, I'm enjoying this way too much. Issei, good to see you. Irina, unfortunately your demise will not be painless, since I have an old friend who would enjoy torturing you till death. Irina, how in God's name are you still alive? Trihexa, angered, do not mention that name ever again, you damned angel. Issei calmed down Trihexa. He then responds to Irina. Issei, an old friend, decided to help me. He merged with my consciousness. Merging with me, as a result we became one. I will let him introduce himself. Draig, hello Irina, it is not good to see you. Irina shocked Draig. Draig, it's me, the Welsh dragon, the same dragon that was sealed in the boosted gear. I didn't realize that you were two-faced. You toyed with not only my partner's emotions while seducing him a few months back, but also mocked him and only saw him as a tool. But I am no longer sealed in the boosted gear. Irina, no, I can't be. This is not real. Issei, it is very much real. Irina, this is not a dream. Irina in response spits on him. Issei wipes of the spit, and in response Issei punches her face, breaking a few teeth as well as nearly breaking her jawline. The dragons were growling at the angel. Issei, your actions are unholy. I am surprised why you haven't fallen yet. Irina, go to hell, dragon. Issei been there done that, now you will experience it as well, Ladon. A fusion of a dragon and a tree approached Irina, causing her to shiver in fear. She knew this dragon very well. Irina, Ladon, but you're supposed to be dead. Ladon, nope, you can thank RageRevan for reviving me. Issei, Ladon, finish her and make sure it is painful. Ladon, with pleasure, my lord. Issei leaves Irina alone with Ladon. Screams could be heard since she was being constantly tortured. Her wings were being ripped out, barriers were inserted between her lungs and mouth, as well as blood cloths, preventing her from breathing as well as creating a lot of blood cloths in her body. Eventually her screams stopped as she was constantly struggling for air, and the veins in her body started to explode, dealing internal bleeding. Eventually she passed out due to immense pain and tremendous blood loss. Ladon decided to finish her by burning her corpse. Issei, now only the yokai and the devils are left. I am gonna enjoy their deaths. If you get in my way, Azazel and Vali, I will take you down as well. Dihasser, since we have dealt with the angels, who are we gonna take down next, my friend? Issei, well, we are gonna deal with the yokai faction next. Meanwhile, with the alliance, Irina had been presumed missing since 2 weeks now. She's been declared killed in action. Her parents were devastated at her demise. Zenobia had isolated herself and has been crying ever since her friend had died. The alliance were shaken since the assault had began, leaving themselves far weaker than they should have been. They were unable to make progress in dealing with the Chaos Brigade, which has been strengthening themselves over time. A lot of the supernatural were starting to lose faith in the alliance in stopping the Chaos Brigade. The hero faction, who had recently learned the truth about Issei, decided to leave the alliance. They decided to stay neutral away from the supernatural. Michael tried to convince Cao, but he refused to listen to the angel leader since he knew if his faction lost their sacred gears, they would also be killed by Surzets for being weak. Cao, despite being arrogant and cocky, still cared for his team. He and Canon surprisingly got along with his teammates. Also, I do not have any intention of the hero faction joining the Chaos Brigade once again. Meanwhile, at KB headquarters at Agar's, Issei had started preparing against his assault at the yokai faction. He decided to bring in both Ladon and Dihasser to begin his assault. He also thought of the possible fight with Amaterasu and the other Shinto gods, but he had his army prepared to take them out. He decided to head out the next day morning. It is a beautiful day outside. Birds are singing. Flowers are blooming. The city of Kyoto. The yokai live on the other side of Kyoto was peaceful with no interruptions and no attacks. The Chaos Brigade hasn't attacked yet. On days like these, the yokai decided to continue their normal routine, when all of a sudden a magical blast was sent, destroying most of the Shinto shrines as well as severely damaging the yokai city. Many yokai were burning like they were in hell. A lot of low-level yokai were killed in the initial blast without even realizing what had happened. The high-class ones, as well as yokai like Kitsune, decided to keep the young and weak yokai safe, while the stronger ones were asked to help against the invasion. The attack was meant towards the West Yokai faction and not towards the East one. Therefore, Nekomata will not be present here since majority of them reside in the East Yokai faction. Yasaka, bring all the children to safety. We have been attacked by the Chaos Brigade. I will hold them off till the children are safe. Tengu guards, yes, my lady. The guards leave with the kids. Kanu was along with them. She didn't want to leave, but Yasaka did not want her daughter to know about what she did to Issei, as she may lose her faith. Yasaka sent her daughter with the guards and then called all the high-class yokai as well as the nine-tailed foxes to assist to repel the invasion of her faction. She tried to create a sunshower barrier, but it was destroyed by Ladon, the insomniac dragon, since she tried to make it in haste. Yasaka, Ladon, what are you doing here? How are you even alive? I thought the Gremory girl killed you. Ladon, I was revived by the Holy Grail. As for the attack, our leader wants vengeance and he is dying to meet you. Yasaka, you will never get me. You can inform your leader that. I am afraid you have no choice in the matter, Lady Yasaka. Yasaka, who are you? No, it can't be Dihasser Belial. Dihasser, hello Fox, I know what you have been doing behind everyone's back. I cannot believe you turned on someone who saved you from the hero faction. If it wasn't for his efforts, the whole city of Kyoto, along with your faction and your daughter, would have been dead by now. Yasaka turned pale. Only she and the faction leaders knew of their betrayal towards Issei. She has had the gnawing feeling ever since Issei had died. She knew that he was alive somewhere. She started to have doubts in Surzet's words since she passed out during her fight against him. Memories of Issei's brutality sprung into her mind. She has been having nightmares of Issei torturing and mocking her ever since his demise. Now she started to feel something that had long passed since his supposed demise. Fear. Yasaka, how can this be? How is he alive? Wow, you are the only one that figured out that I am alive. Congratulations, Yasaka. I am really happy with your smartness. You are smart for a fox, that is, I will give you that, so I may reduce the brutality of your demise. Yasaka, voice laden with fear. Issei. Issei, hey, how are you doing? Are you keeping well after you know? Yasaka, tears in her eyes, knew this has to be a dream. It can't be. How are you alive? Issei, oh ho ho ho, are you crying, Lady Yasaka? For what? Guilty about your betrayal? No, that can't be it. It must be that you are crying out of fear, begging me for mercy. Well then, let me tell you, you are not gonna have any mercy. Meanwhile, we can see the Chaos Brigade army completely destroying the building. Ladon and Dihasa were killing several high-class Yaokai with little to no ease. Ladon's barriers were preventing them from doing any damage to them, as well as using the strength of an evil dragon to easily kill them. Dihasa was rendering their abilities worthless, and was delivering a brutal beatdown to any Yaokai foolish enough to attack him. The raiding game champion easily defeated several of them in hand-to-hand combat. Yasaka watched the whole massacre, then she focused her eyes on the leader of the KB. She decided to make one final-ditch effort in taking down Issei. She immediately transforms into her true form to fight him. Issei in response transforms into his dragon form, which was a 100 FT blackish-red dragon with scales stronger than that of Crom Crotch, the strongest evil dragon. He had fiery red wings that even made the Yaokai shiver in fear. Yasaka herself was shocked at this amazing new form that Issei possessed. Ignore the night. Issei's dragon form is similar to the one above, but that isn't even his final form. Yasaka decided to use the ley lines to create one final attack, a last-ditch effort to vanquish this evil dragon by creating a bomb made of concentrated chakra. In response, Issei used his signature move to counter Yasaka's chakra bomb by combining Draig and Vitra signature move. Blazing Inferno of scorching black flames. The flame was strong enough to not only nullify the bomb, but also damage Yasaka by a little bit. Then Issei proceeded to lunge towards Yasaka, bidding on her, ripping her flesh apart. He then proceeded to use his talons to rip her chest open. Yasaka screamed in agony as she was being ripped to shreds. She was unable to keep up with Issei's ferocity and speed as he was constantly tearing her apart. She eventually transformed back in her human form, exhausted due to her injuries. She saw that Issei had transformed back into her human form. Issei then grabbed her by the hair and proceeded to punch her gut over and over again, thus making her cough up blood. He then used his talons to rip apart her fox tails one by one. Yasaka screamed in pain as the place where once her tails were are now left with bleeding wounds. Issei did not stop there. He then proceeded to deliver a punch to her ribs as well as her legs, breaking them apart. The sound of bones cracking could be heard all over. Yasaka couldn't keep up with Issei. Her fox physiology and adrenaline in her body keeping her alive, she could not even pass out due to this. Issei then proceeded to finish the leader of with Extinction Sphere, but before he could do that he heard a scream. Kanu had tears in her eyes, watching her big brother, someone she looked up to, beat her own mother to the brink of death. Kanu, crying, big brother Issei, please stop hurting mother like this. You were once her savior, then why did you turn on her like this? Kanu crying brought a distant memory in his mind, the time when he was a pawn of Ria's Gremory, when he was looked up to by the fox child. When he was loved by everyone, but that was nothing but a farce. But he realized that Kanu didn't know the truth. Yasaka knew that Issei would expose her truth to her daughter. Yasaka, don't listen to this man, he will turn you against me. Issei, tell me, Kanu, do you really want to know why am I doing this? Kanu, yes. Issei, how about instead of telling you, I show you what she did? And with that, Issei showed her his memories of her mother's betrayal towards him, Surzech's torturing him, her mother mocking and laughing at the brunette for his misery. Kanu could only feel anger for what her mother did to her savior. Yasaka knew her daughter has realized her actions. Kanu, in a voice hiding her anger, mother, is this true? Yasaka, no. Kanu, liars, you are a liar, emotichirr. Issei, Kanu, now you know why I want your mother dead. She turned her back on me and even mocked me. She even tried to kill me when I tried to fight back. Do you want me to spare your mother even now? She might turn on you if you lose your powers. Kanu, no, please kill her. Yasaka, Trihexa, fuck this woman. Issei Hyoudou baby. Extinction sphere. Yasaka's screams could be heard as the sphere completely destroyed her atom by atom. Kanu cried at her mother's demise. Issei comforted her as she lost her only family left. He immediately embraced her while her cries could be heard across the entire city. After a few minutes, she lets go and Issei calls Ladon to take her to the base safe and sound. Issei, that was one hell of a day. It can't be, Issei, is that you? Issei looked to see none other than Volley and his team looking at the brunette. They had guilt and remorse etched in their faces, especially Kuroka, who realized that it was Issei that cared for her more than anyone else. Volley, how are you alive? Did you do all this? Issei, Volley, I am not gonna lie to you. I did everything you heard. I killed them all, not just the men, but the woman and the children too. I never died. You can thank Draig for that too. Lefei, wait, Draig is alive. Draig, hello everyone, it has been a while. Albion, I thought I had lost my rival. How are you alive? Draig, I merged myself with my host, thus increasing his regeneration. When my boosted gear was destroyed, I asked my past hosts to merge with my host. This allowed my and my host's survival, and now we are a single being. Albion, I am happy that you two are still alive. Volley, Issei, please come back to us. Azazel and Odin still miss you. We still miss you. Kuroka is regretful of what she did to you. Kuroka, Volley is right. I never realized when I fell for you. I always was attracted to you. I am sorry for what I said to you. I didn't realize I had hurt your fragile heart. I realized I loved you when you helped me fix my relationship with Shiren Kaneko. I am really disappointed in what she did, but even more so in what I did. So please give me a second chance. Issei, I forgive you, Kuroka, for saying those words. You are the only person that has apologized for their betrayal. As for the others, they never did apologize for their actions. But I am sorry, I cannot love you. You broke my heart, so I do not hate you anymore. So Volley, are you gonna tell the factions about my identity? Volley, I do not have any choice. I gotta tell them, otherwise he might end up killing my team. Issei, I understand. Please tell Azazel that I miss him too. See ya. Issei teleports out of there. Volley, Arthur, and Biku look down in shame and regret. They did not do anything to help their friend when they needed him. Lefei was crying. Kuroka was wailing as she lost the man that would have loved her more than anything else. Lefei and Volley were comforting her. Meanwhile, at the hospital, we can see a lady in casts who has been sleeping for 8 months ever since her fight with RageRevan. She finally wakes up screaming a name. Issei. The nurse came in running. The woman had finally woken up. The lady began to explain what had happened to her. Nurse, Miss Asia, I know you need a lot to catch up. Your foster parents are dead because of RageRevan, and Mr. Issei are dead, thanks to the factions betraying him. Asia started to cry as she lost her only family left. She didn't know what to do next as she didn't have anything left. She lost faith in the factions. She wanted to leave the hospital and go into hiding ASAP. That's where she saw a man sitting on the couch. He had golden and black hair. He was Azazel, the Governor General of the Fallen Angels. Azazel, so you finally woke up. Asia, tears in her eyes, yeah. Azazel immediately embraced her. She is the only remnant of Issei's family left, since he doesn't know yet that Issei is still alive. He told her how he and Volley were helpless as they couldn't stop Surzech in killing Issei. Asia, how could he do such a thing, after everything Issei had done for them? Azazel, I know, Asia, even I am shocked at their actions and disappointed in the orc for their actions. I failed them as a teacher. I failed even Issei as a teacher. Asia, don't blame yourself, Azazel. You did whatever you could to protect your faction. So what now? Evil Dragon War 5 Finale. Continuing from our story last time, we see our hero Issei Hyoudu's identity as the mysterious leader of the Chaos Brigade revealed to the Volley team. They eventually go and reveal it to the Azazel and Asia, the latter who had just woken up from her coma. Asia was well briefed about the actions of the mysterious leader of the Chaos Brigade. She was weeping endlessly as her first friend and foster brother had turned to the dark side. As for Azazel, he was brutally depressed. His own surrogate son was responsible for so many deaths in the Alliance. He began to blame himself for not protecting and being there for his son when he needed him the most. Meanwhile, at the Grigori headquarters, Azazel, are you sure about this, Volley? Volley, yes, Azazel, he even admitted to his crimes to us. He doesn't hate us, but he told he will defeat us if he decided to get in his way of vengeance. Azazel, in a shaky voice, I never though tthings would bekomi th's bad thigh s faucent. I was, ent therefore him wien he needed me the mosent. If I protected him from his wr wrath he would have he still el been ythus. Volley, it is not your fault, Azazel, if it wasn't for me dividing weakening him. If I didn't listen to Surzech, none of this would have happened. We would have at least convinced him to come back. Both Azazel and Volley were trying to control themselves. Both were internally grieving as their son-brother had become the very thing he swore to destroy. They didn't know that Asia was spying on them. Asia, is this true? Both were shocked that Asia was spying on them. Volley was surprised that Asia had woken up from her coma. Azazel, in a shaky voice, I'm afraid it is. Asia started endlessly weeping. Her first friend and brother, who was always there for her and supported her at every step, was now the biggest threat. She was contemplating suicide, but that wasn't an option since Issei would never forgive himself for letting her die the second time. In canon, when Issei was presumed dead due to Samuel's poison, all the girls had lost the will to live. Asia particularly wanted to commit suicide since Issei was the reason for her to live. Volley, so now what do we do? Azazel, the other leaders would know that Yasaka has perished from Issei's assault along with most of the Yaokai faction. I might as well tell them the identity of the leader of the Chaos Brigade. Now if you will excuse me. Azazel said this in a voice that was barely controlling his tears. Azazel left both Volley and Asia alone. He went to his private quarters and started drinking. He has had that habit ever since Issei is dead, and now that he is alive as his worst enemy, he started to cry endlessly. He blamed himself for everything that had happened to Issei. At the KB headquarters, Agars, Issei decided to reveal himself to the entire Chaos Brigade. The armies of Kulipoth and Nilrime factions were surprised, to say the least. They never thought the person that was considered the hope of the alliance would become their strongest ally. Issei, I know that I should not have hidden myself from you guys. I know a lot of you are discontent with the actions of the alliance. I used to think that the alliance were a benevolent faction who wanted peace, but I was wrong. The factions are interested in peace, but not in the way we want them to be. They only care about the strong. They do not care if the weak perish. They only consider people with talent, and the rest they kick out when their talent is no longer present or when they become weak. In my case, they even tried to kill me when I lost my boosted gear, and they didn't even give me a fair trial. I served them and they used me as a tool. They do not care if you perish as long as they have a weapon that can fight. They do not care about your feeling. But it is time to stop them. We will not let that happen. We will protect the weak instead of slaying them. We will always stand up for injustice and punish those responsible for hurting innocent creatures. The armies cheered for their speech. This is not the first time Issei gave such a speech, but he certainly didn't expect to garner this much support for his actions. Issei, we will begin our final assault at the Devil faction by sundown tomorrow. I want you guys to have a proper rest and prepare for tomorrow's battle. Draig, I never thought an idiot like you would give such an incredible speech. Vitra, I agree with Draig. My life has become far more interesting since you became my host. You saw us as real people, dragons, and never used us as tools. Trihexa, I do not regret merging with you. I always wanted to get back at that old fool for sealing me away, but now I want to help you with your vengeance. You even saw me, a being that was viewed for carnage and destruction, as a real person. For that I am eternally grateful for your actions. Issei, thanks guys, I really mean it. Issei felt overjoyed since the dragons were willing to fight for him till the very end. He knew that tomorrow is gonna be an epic day. His thoughts were interrupted by Ladon, Dehauser, and Kanu calling for him. Dehauser, that was an incredible speech, Issei. I never thought you would have been such a capable and compassionate leader. You always saw me as a teammate rather than a slave, unlike RageRevan, and helped me to get stronger with increased training. Now I feel like I can even defeat Surzech. Ladon, people always feared me for being an evil dragon. They used to either run or try to kill me, but you didn't do either of that. You spared me, saw who I was beyond being a dragon, and always put our lives first than your own. I will follow you to the very end, Issei-sama. Kanu, initially I did not believe you could hurt mother like this. I knew you always had a good reason, but I now know what really happened to you, the reason you did all those actions. You are still the same older brother that once saved my kind, including my ungrateful mother. I want to be with you until the very end. Please do not leave me. Issei could only tear up at the sight of his true friends supporting him till the very end. He knew that they would sacrifice their own lives for his survival, and he would also do the same for them. Draig, he deserves this. Trihexa, after all he has been through, he needed love and affection from certain people. Issei wipes his tears and headpats Kanu. Replace the cat girl with Kanu. Issei, thank you guys, I really mean it, and Kanu, your big brother, is never going to abandon you ever again. Now you guys also take rest, we have a big battle tomorrow. All agree and go back to their quarters and get prepared the next day for their final battle against the Alliance. At the Alliance meeting area, Azazel told everyone the true identity of the Chaos Brigade leader. Surzech was now livid at what he assumed to be a betrayal. Serafal wanted vengeance against the dragon while Ajuka was blindly loyal to Surzech because he's not only his best friend but also he didn't want to betray him. Michael wanted Issei's forgiveness and he was not surprised at his actions towards the Alliance. Odin wanted to gain his faith back. He too was devastated at the Issei being the new leader of the Chaos Brigade. Riaz was devastated at the actions of her former pawn. Now with him being an enemy of the Alliance, Aquino was motionless given that Issei is now their threat. Kiba and Zenobia were now starting to despise the dragon, with the latter holding him responsible for not only breaking Orc's spirit, but also holding him responsible for the deaths of the Citri peerage as well as her best friend Irina. Kaneko detested him for not only bashing her endlessly, but also for turning her sister against him. She still viewed him as the enemy of women. Needless to say, both Gasper and Roswis were shocked, as the one they were looking for turned out to be their biggest enemy. They felt something was wrong with the entire situation. The underworld was in shock. Graphia, Milikas, Venelina, as well as Zeroticus were devastated at the news. Seigorg, Riser, and Ravel were completely shattered since the one that would have fought tooth and nail for their sake is now become the biggest enemy. Seigorg clenched his fist and punched the ground in anger. Ravel was constantly weeping as Riser comforted her little sister. Surzech calms down and begins the meeting. Surzech, how dare Issei betrayed us like this? Becoming our enemy is the biggest mistake. Serafal, I will avenge Sotan's death at the hands of that dragon. I am coming for you, Issei. You better be ready. Ajuka, the question is how are we gonna defeat him? Azazel, don't you devils still get it? We are responsible for this. We pushed him to such an extent. This is the consequence of our action. We brought this on ourselves. Had we not betrayed him, we still would have had a powerful ally with us. Odin, I just hope the boy doesn't hate my faction for the betrayal. Azazel, do not worry, All-Father, you didn't turn your back on him. Surzech, how dare you? Azazel, how dare you support a terrorist? He is the reason so many people are dead. He is nothing but a weak traitor. Azazel, and the ones that are dead are the ones that betrayed him or hurt his family members or tried to get in his way. Sona's peerage, RageRevan, Yasaka, Irina, all of them are the ones that turned their backs on him. The rest all are the ones that tried to get in his way of achieving his vengeance. If you hadn't betrayed him or tortured him to death, none of this would have happened. He would have still been with us. I am done trying to convince you at this point, Surzech. Now whatever happens is on you. I am done with this alliance. The fallen angels are no longer gonna be an ally of the devils. Odin, we back out as well. I do not want to ally myself with traitors. Before they could leave, the sky turns orange-red, with Chaos Brigade soldiers appearing through portals. They disable the leader's portal and their teleportation ability. Azazel, he is here. All of a sudden, a figure jumps out from the shadows. A very familiar face is seen by the faction leaders. Surzech and Serafal are radiating with aura raging from rage and grief. Seeing the man they once killed is now here for his retribution. Issei, hello there. The faction leaders got ready for their fight of a lifetime. Azazel and Odin did not want to fight Issei, but the dragon wasn't giving them much of a choice. Azazel knew that Issei hasn't targeted Azazel for his vengeance, but will try to stop him nevertheless. Azazel, I don't want to fight you, Issei. Issei, then do not get in my way, sensei. Azazel realized that Issei still respected him. He knew that there was still the old Issei inside the Chaos Brigade leader, the once pervert who used to help people and would even sacrifice his own life to save the ones he protected. While lost in his thoughts, Seraphal lunged at him in an attempt to avenge her sister's demise. Seraphal, I will fucking kill you, Hyoudou. Issei in an ominous tone, you will try, Seraphal. With that, Seraphal engages Issei in battle. She uses her signature ice magic to counter Issei, but the dragon constantly used his proficiency in fire magic to counter her attacks. Seraphal ice magic tendrils. Issei flamethrower. Seraphal ice flower. Issei firestorm. Seraphal iced arena. Issei dragonic heat wave. Seraphal ice avalanche. Issei toxic flames of destruction. Issei was easily able to counter all of Seraphal's ice magic without any effort. The faction leaders were shocked at his abilities. It is no wonder he is the leader of the Chaos Brigade. He easily was able to kill an entire peerage, almost wiping out an entire faction as well as killing a super devil. They started to shudder at the thought of dealing with him at his full power. As for Seraphal, she was unable to think rationally because of the rage consuming her. Seraphal, how are you this strong? Issei, training. Unlike you, I kept training even after I became strong. Seraphal, time to end this Celsius cross trigger. Seraphal tried to turn the land into a frozen wasteland just to get rid of Issei. They could see an icy mist where there was Issei. All assumed Issei couldn't survive. Azazel was devastated that he lost his son once again. Then he heard a roar. Issei was alive. Seraphal was shocked that he was still alive and started to feel something that she only felt during the Great War. Fear. Issei, you have done your part, now it is my turn. With saying that, he transformed into his balance breaker and was pummeling the Devil King like she was nothing. Seraphal tried to use her ice magic to slow down Issei's onslaught, but this only angered him. He was beating her brutally. The faction leaders were shocked at his onslaught. Seraphal had broken bones, blood was spilled everywhere, her teeth were broken and she was coughing up blood. Seraphal, please have mercy. Issei, there is no mercy, Welsh dragonfly. With that, Issei unleashes a vortex of flames on the Devil King, killing her instantly. Issei, do not worry, I will deal with you next, Gremory. In response to the shocking murder of the Devil King Seraphal Leviathan, both Ria's Gremory and Surzech are now feeling fear. Both wanted to escape the area, but knew that they cannot since Issei disabled any magical portals. The place where the meeting hall was supposed to be was completely destroyed due to the fight. The leaders could see Dihasar, Ladon, and Kunu leading the charge against the Devil faction, eliminating with 0 difficulty. Surzech was forced to summon his peerage. They all saw the carnage that was going on. They then saw Issei watching everything unfold. Grafia then saw Issei. As happy as she was disturbed by what Issei had become. Grafia teared up at the sight of how far Issei had fallen. Grafia, begging Issei, you need to stop this. You are not going to get anything by committing genocide. Issei, do you think I want this? Grafia, I never wanted to murder anyone. I only wanted to be loved, but your husband and sister-in-law chose to betray me, and not even that, they lied to me during my entire life as a devil. Not to mention your husband betrayed me when I lost my sacred gear and nearly killed me when I tried to fight back. Grafia was stunned on hearing Issei's confession. She knew that he would never do such a thing, but has been doubting her master and her husband's nature ever since the meeting where Issei was declared dead. She began to fear the worst-case scenario. Meanwhile, Sauji and Beowulf decided to attack Issei with their abilities, but the dragon was too strong for their attacks. Grafia, Sauji, Beowulf, no, don't attack him. Both, we will avenge Lady Seraphal. Issei, so you have chosen death. Issei then unleashes a point-blank blazing inferno of scorching flames, but in a small amount just to minimize damage, but it was enough to completely burn the two alive. Surzech and Grafia looked away. She could not watch someone so close to her do such heinous acts. She understood Issei's reasoning, but has realized that he has gotten too far. Issei, do you really want to know why I did all this? Grafia and everyone present, then watch this, but remember this will tarnish who he is in front of everyone's eyes. Grafia, yes, I do. Grafia was already on the verge of breaking down. The gnawing feeling of her husband lying was the thing that was increasing inside of her. Issei then proceeded to show the recording of Surzech's action in front of everyone. Sagorg, Riser, and their peerages were shocked at the person they looked up to could fall so low. Odin was disturbed at the fact that the peacemaker did such a heinous act. Grafia was in utter disbelief as Surzet not only enjoyed torturing Issei, but also had mocked him for his parents' demise as well as loss of Draig. She was even more shocked when Riaz joined her brother in her assault against Issei. She never expected all this to be true. She was not even sure what to sew anymore. Grafia, is this true? Please don't lie. Grafia did not want this to be true. She loved her husband, but if this is true, he would be a threat to her son and she didn't want to lose him. Surzet, yeah. Grafia then slaps him in front of everyone. Grafia, voice filled in anger and venom, you are not a man I love. You killed someone who I deemed a brother in cold blood for your own pleasure. Your actions have proved that you are now a threat to my son Milikas. I am taking him away from you. Surzet, no please. But by that time, Grafia had already teleported to the underworld to retrieve her son. Surzet, you turned her against me, Issei. Issei, you have done that yourself. Your desire for your twisted view of the world, your lust for power, and your betrayals have already done that. When Issei had finished, Riaz and her peerage interrupted their conversation. Kaneko was the first to attack her. She tried to use her Shiren form to fight him, but Issei easily overwhelmed her and utterly destroyed every single bone in her body. Kuroko, watching this, wanted to prevent Issei from attacking her sister, but Vali stated that she chose this herself. Kuroko knew that her life was in the dragon's hand. Before, Issei could have dealt with Kaneko once and for all. He was attacked by Kiba with his sword, but he easily broke his sword. Then he proceeded to place a tentacle instead of Kiba, crushing his internal organs, causing severe internal bleeding. Then he used Vitra flames on him, burning him on the inside. Kiba wanted to scream but was unable to do so. Zenovia tried to avenge Kiba, but Issei instead sidestepped, delivering a severe gut punch to Zenovia's stomach. She ended up coughing up blood. He then proceeded to start ripping apart her body part one by one using his talons. Zenovia wailed in agony as her organs were being ripped from her body. Issei then unleashed a compressed extinction sphere in her stomach, which exploded on impact, killing her instantly. Gasper and Roswis were speechless at their friend's actions. Both didn't want to attack Issei, so they only watched. They found the punishment fitting for such liars. They did not do anything since they would also have been betrayed in a similar manner if they ever lost their power's sacred gear. Akino was up next. She and Kaneko, the latter who had recovered from their initial attack, tried to attack one final time. Akino used her fallen angel form, constantly raining light spears from above, but Issei easily dodged all of them instantly. He then delivered a brutal beatdown to the Priestess of Thunder, making her unable to recover. He then proceeded to rip her fallen wings. Akino screamed in agony and terror due to the pain, after which she passed out. Issei, the only reason I am sparing you is because your father is a good man. I don't want him to suffer because of your actions. Issei then focused his attention on Kaneko. She was already exhausted and was bleeding on all sides. Kaneko, you were always a worthless pervert. The only reason I tolerated you is because you were the Red Dragon Emperor. Now I am gonna beat you to the bloody death. Draig, the audacity of this bitch. Draig said that with a tone of mockery, with both Trihexa and Vitra agreeing with her stupidity. Issei, even after your beatdown, you are still cocky. I am gonna enjoy breaking that smile of yours. Issei said this with a sinister smile as he proceeded to lunge at Kaneko, ripping apart her tail and her ears. Kaneko wailed in agony as her parts were removed from a body. He then gave her a vicious haymaker, dealing massive damage to her entire body. He then used his magic to deal a powerful blast, killing her instantly. Kuroko, on seeing this, screamed as she had lost her sister. Vali tried to comfort her as she knew that there was nothing they could do. They knew of the dragon's relationship with her was already shaky from the beginning. Kuroko wanted to swear vengeance but realized that she would become like him. Consumed by it, they decide to teleport out of there. Riaz is the only one left standing. She tries to beg for forgiveness. Riaz, Issei, please stop. I am sorry for turning on you. I won't do it again. Issei, it is too late for apologizing. Now prepare yourself. You are gonna have a bad time. Issei then lunges at her with the intent to kill. He easily overwhelmed her power of destruction with zero to little effort. She was struggling to keep up with him. Issei then proceeded to give her blow after blow, knocking her out. He then picked up Durandal and along with a scalpel used it to rip both of Ria's hands. She screamed in pain as both of her limbs were ripped apart. She was looking in the eyes of her former savior in fear. Replace the lightsabers with Durandal and Escalon and Dooku with Rias. Trihexa, good Issei, good, kill her now. Issei, I shouldn't. Trihexa, do it. And with that, Issei decapitated Rias, and her body was rendered lifeless on the floor. Now only one person was left, the one who caused this whole mess to begin with, the Devil King Surzech Lucifer. He was emanating with aura far deadlier than he was during his fight with the Jabberwocky. He knew this was the final fight. It was now or never. Most of Surzech's peerage had been annihilated by Dehauser and Ladon, while Kunu was dealing with the Devil Army. Surzech, you have taken everything from me. Issei, at this point I do not even know who you are. Surzech, you will Issei you. The battle begins. Issei uses Diabolo's dragon to fight Surzech in his true destruction form. They both were equally matched, with Issei using blow after blow to fight Surzech, who was able to keep up with Issei's attack. He constantly ruin of extinction on him, being able to damage his Diabolo's dragon form. Issei eventually lost his entire armor. He saw Surzech glowing with a blackish-red aura. The dragons, Issei, it is about time to use it. Issei, alright then, well Surzech, congratulations, you managed to take me on in 50% of my power. Well then, it is about time I go full power. Issei started to chant. I who am about to awaken am the heavenly beast who has stolen the principles of domination from God. I laugh at the infinite, I grieve at the dream, and mock at the powerful. I shall become the black beast of annihilation, and I shall sink you to the depths of the voided purgatory from which you will never return. Apocalyptic drive. A juggernaut drive was formed, but it didn't eat away Issei's insanity. This form was far deadlier than anyone before. It looked like a combination of Draig's true form with Vitra's tentacles as well as Trihexa's full body. Everyone was bewildered at the sight of this new being. Surzech himself was now feeling terror in his body. And it looked like this, just replace the human body with something dragonic as well as add purple tentacles to it. Surzech, what in Satan's name are you? Issei Yar Warst Nigmare. Issei then charged at Surzech, lunging at the super devil. He was tearing him apart through his destruction form. He basically started to rip him into pieces where he was constantly being tortured to pieces. His regeneration only made matters worse as he was in no shape. After which Issei then proceeded to deal with him by delivering a vicious haymaker, breaking every single bone in him. He was barely alive, completely powered down. He looked towards Issei with fear and hatred, the latter which looked at him with a smirk. Escalon pointed at his face. Issei almost finished him when he heard a familiar voice. Issei knew. Issei, wait, that voice, Asia, is that you? Asia, yes, it is me, your friend. You need to stop this rampage. He will be punished for his actions, but not like this. Azazel then appeared. Azazel, you have done enough damage. Look around you, Issei. Your lust for vengeance has destroyed everything around you. Is this what you really wanted? Complete destruction. Issei looked around, realizing what he had done, realizing that there is nothing left. He started to feel something he hadn't felt in a long time, regret. He didn't realize this, his lust for vengeance, would destroy everything in his path. Issei in tears, what have I done? Asia, I know you can change. I know you can fix things. You never gave up. You always found hope even in the most desolate situations. I know you very well, Issei. You are the being that once gave Issei hope. Azazel, Asia is right. Issei, you always saw good in people. You were the reason why Volley and Cao Cao joined us, because of your indirect actions. You never held grudges. You changed prideful devils like Riser. No matter how the odds are stacked against you, you kept pushing. Azazel, all you need to do is face punishment. But before Issei could say anything, two magical tendrils pierced both Azazel and Asia, severely wounding them. Azazel only cursed Surzech, the one responsible for the attack. Everything was going in the right path for once, but now his mentor was dead. Asia was the next to collapse. She saw Issei rushing towards her. Issei, crying, Nuo, you can't die like this. I want you to see my change into a good person. I wanted us to have a family. You can't die like this. Asia, I knew there was good in you. Unfortunately, there was no good in him. Points at Surzech. Please do not change who you are, but even if you do coughs out blood, I will always love you. Asia is dead, lifeless on the floor. Issei screams in anger and pain. He has lost the only last person in his family. How far are you gonna fall? Graphia had appeared through the portal as she now lost any remaining love and respect she had for him. Even Milikas was disgusted at what his father has become. Graphia, I am from here on out nothing for you, and I feel nothing towards you as well. Even Milikas has no love left for you. Also, I have informed Lady and Lord Gremory about your actions. They are disgusted in you as well. Surzech, then you will die. Graphia prepared for the inevitable. When Issei lunged at Surzech, he then proceeded to rip apart his skin, leaving a broken chest cavity and bones. Then he used his tentacles to pierce through every organ in the body, rupturing it and putting his cursed flames on it. Surzech howled in pain as he was unable to keep up with the damage. The regeneration only made things worse, as it made his demise even more painful, as the organs were constantly burning due to the regeneration. Graphia had covered Milikas's eyes so that he does not see the carnage. She herself could not handle the disgusting sight, and she herself barfed. Issei then proceeded to unleash a scalon towards his heart, twisting it in such a manner that it does not kill the super devil. Surzech, please stop. Draig, that is not gonna happen, Lucifer. You have had this coming for a long time. Trihexa, I used to be mindless, but even I had honor, but you are dishonorable. Vitra, you deserve what's coming for you. Surzech screamed in agony as the torture continued and repeated itself over and over again. When he perished, Issei finally used blazing inferno of scorching flames to destroy the corpse. He was finally done with his vengeance, but at what cost? Graphia, Milikas, Kunu, Ladon as well as Dehauser went to console Issei on his loss, as he lost his entire family. Issei, guys, we are not done yet. There will still be people trying to avenge the people that I have murdered. We need to take them down before it is too late. Are you guys with me? All five. Yes, Issei, we are all with you. Issei looked down on his army as they were all ready for what comes next. Issei then fought against countless devils, angels, and other supernatural beings that were gonna attack his new home and his new family. All five of them helped in dealing with the attackers, and when everything was done, the supernatural count in this universe became very low. That's the end of this storyline, with our hero Issei falling in the vengeful path. He had people caring for him, but in the end that wasn't enough to save him from his inner vengeance, and everything was destroyed due to it. Please let me know in the comments on how to improve. Peace. Next storyline preview. Rainer's abduction of Asia Argento. In the universe we are familiar with, Asia Argento was abducted by Rainer and her minions to extract her sacred gear, but after Issei defeats them and Riaz kills Rainer, she is revived as the Gremory household bishop. But what if I told you that in another universe, a dark universe, the same thing happens but with a slight twist? What if instead of Asia getting kidnapped and having her sacred gear extracted, it is Issei that suffers this fate? Issei's gear is instantly extracted and is killed due to the procedure. Rainer gets the gear for some time but is unable to activate the boosted gear. Asia, eventually out of rage, manages to kill her due to her weakness and brutally kills her. What will happen to the supernatural in this reality when a vengeful nun gets her hands on the boosted gear? Rainer's abduction of Asia Argento 1. To quote from Batman, if you kill a killer, the number of killers in the world remains the same. In this dark alternate take on the first arc of High School Dxd, instead of Asia Argento getting herself kidnapped by Rainer, Issei bargains with her, surprising both Rainer and Asia. This results in Issei getting himself kidnapped, with a shocked Asia looking helplessly as her master takes her first and possibly only friend away from her. Issei, please do not hurt her. Rainer, I will come with you. Rainer, what do you have to possibly offer, devil boy? I do not want your damn twice critical. Issei, but listen to me, this gear, I do not think it is as weak as you think it should be. I feel it is much stronger than it seems. I guess it has not been unlocked yet, but I feel it may be something far more powerful. Rainer thinks it seems that this boy is not lying, considering his friend is in danger. With a sinister smirk, all right then Issei-kun, I accept your deal. With that, Issei is taken to the skis with his now ex-girlfriend. He smiles as he is very close to her oppai and has a lecherous smile. But he eventually realizes what this woman did to him, changes his smile into a defiant anger and sad look. Asia watches in horror as her friend is taken away from her. Asia immediately realizes that there is only one way to solve this problem. She heads towards the Occult Research Club, where Ria's Gremory, the master of Issei Hyoudou, is seen drinking her tea served by none other than her queen and servant Akino Himejima. She then rushes to the club room, shocking Ria's. While initially being skeptical about the presence of a nun in an area full of devils, but is shocked when she informs her that Issei Hyoudou, her precious pawn, had been kidnapped by Rainier. While being angry at her pawn for defying her orders, she realizes that she needs to act quick, otherwise she may lose her pawn and her only chance at winning against Riser. A.N. Before you think that this is another Ria's bashing, this is not like them. Ria's has still not fallen in love with Issei. For her, she sees him as a cute little brother. Also, unlike in most fanfictions where Ria's orchestrated Issei's death, so that he can be loyal to her, and this is a plot hole on the author's part. Also, I see this as a negligence, as she did not see those fallen angels as a threat. She was negligent in handling her territory, thus resulting in Issei's death. However, in this alternate universe, her negligence is gonna be the biggest mistake of her life. Asia, you need to help Issei. She captured him, and now please rescue him. He needs you. He is your pawn, isn't he? Ria's controlling her anger. Well then, Asia, let's go. I will save him, but he will be punished for his reckless and stupid action. Asia, well, what you see fit, but please, he needs to stay alive. Ria's, do not worry, Asia, he will be safe. I promise you nothing is going to happen to him. The storyline will be same, with Ria's and Akino dealing with Kalwerner, Donasik and Mitlet, and Kaneko and Kiba going through the front door. Except Asia will be replaced by Issei completely. She, along with Kaneko and Kiba, will be encountering Fried as well as later Rainier. Fried, well, if it isn't the shitty devils. Asia, please, Father Fried, let us save Issei. We do not want to fight you. Fried, oh dear Asia, you have been corrupted by being with these shitty devils. You have been behaving like them. For your sins, the only punishment you deserve is death. Laughs maniacally. Saying that, Fried attacks Asia, but his sword is parried with Kiba's sword, while Kaneko constantly attacks him with her punches, as well as throwing a clock at him when he called her a midget. Fried, how are you able to keep up with me? How can I lose to a shitty devil? Kiba, not only are your sword skills predictable, but also your attacks reckless and dumb. Fried gets angered by the response and uses his sword of light, but is consumed by Kiba's sword of darkness. Fried, how is this possible? Kiba, my sword is a special type of sword that consumes light energy itself. Now you will perish for your involvement in my friend's attack. Fried, you cheat. I cannot lose to such shitty devils. Fried, I must escape. With that, Fried throws a light bomb on the floor, creating a flash of light, giving enough time for the rogue priest to escape before getting himself killed disgracefully at the hands of some low-class devils. Kiba, damn it, let's go, Asia. Kaneko. Both, yes. Meanwhile, outside the church, Akino had set up a barrier to deal with these fallen angels. She was in her Miko costume. She and Ria's had appeared to the fallen angels. They were all mocking her and her master for being stupid enough to barge towards enemy territory single-handedly. Akino, you do realize that we are not the only ones here, right? Kalwerner, what do you mean? Ria's, it is just that 2 of my servants along with the nun have already infiltrated the church and are dealing with the priests as we speak. Mitlet, no damn it. Donasik, we have been tricked. Mitlet, we need to get out of here. Akino, Ara tilde, that will not be happening. The barrier is strong enough to keep anyone of low class from entering as well as exiting. Ria's, Akino is correct. You will not be leaving from her so easily. Kalwerner, I think you should be worried about your pawn more than them. Ria's, what do you mean? Mitlet, well, it is just that Rainier initially wanted to kill Issei due to his gear, but now she wants his gear. Kalwerner, yeah, but the best part was the date. Oh, how she told that she enjoyed toying with her Issei's feelings before finally killing him. Donasik, well, I feel bad for the pawn for falling into her games, but he was stupid to not sense the threat in front of him. I really pity him for being this stupid enough to sacrifice himself to save someone he barely knew. Now at least he will be of some use to us. All 3 angels start laughing at the pawn's misery, angering Ria's even further. She flares her aura of destruction at them, causing them to stop laughing. Akino, crows like you are the reason I hate fallen angels so much. Now you have just triggered Rias so much that now there is no escape. Make peace with your maker. Rias, you will pay for Toying and Hurtingmy pawn. With that, Rias uses her POD to easily kill the 3 fallen angels, thus breaking the barrier, allowing her to rush to aid her team and the nun. At the church, Kiba and Kaneko proceed to find a trapdoor revealing a hidden stairway. The trio then proceeds to be what is an altar. There she could see Issei being crucified with Rainier appearing with a smirk towards the trio. They only had horrified expression on their faces as they could see Issei's left hand being completely singed due to the sacred gear's removal. Rainier, oh, it seems you are too late. The sacred gear removal procedure is already done. I now wield the ultimate power. Asia then proceeded to move towards Issei when she was stopped by some rogue priests. Kiba and Kaneko then intervened, taking most of the priests down. Kiba, go Asia, save him. Asia, right, thanks Kiba. Asia then proceeds to make it up to the altar. Rainier, go ahead, take him. He is now of no use to me. I got what I wanted from him. Asia then takes Issei's body and runs away towards the trapdoor where sees him, his eyes barely being open. Issei then opens his eyes to see a tearful Asia. Issei smiles at her knowing that his death is imminent. He is happy to see his first friend looking at him at his final moments. He weakly tries to sit. Issei, hey ye, Asesha, please do, and cry ye. Asia, crying. Issei, no, PLS, stay with me, I can't live without you. Issei, you are the first person who saw me for who I am. I wanted to make you meet so many people. I wanted you to know so many friends. Matsuda and Madohama would love to meet someone like you. They would enjoy being your friends. Please take of them. My parents would love to meet a girl like you. Be with them, protect them. I do not have much time left. Hey, 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 hey. Asia, crying, no, please don't say such things. There has to be a way to save you. Rias and the others are also here. They promised me that they would save you from dying. I don't have anyone in my life and I do not want to lose you. Issei, they are here. Heh, at least they care about me, but it is too late for that. I do not have much time left. Rainier already informed that I was gonna die by the time the process ends. Heh, fitting end for a devil. Asia, crying, please do not say that. Issei, you may be a devil by blood but not by heart. The real devils are the ones responsible for your death and letting your death to take place. Issei, thank you Asia for being with me. Hey, can you please do me a favor before I perish? Asia, anything. Issei, give that bitch Rainier what she deserves. People like her shouldn't be allowed to roam free. Do not let anyone else be a victim like me or you. Protect possible victims from the hands of supernatural people like her before it is too late. Please protect the... Before completing the statement, Issei dies. Asia is in momentary shock as the man who was her first friend, the man she loved, just died in front of her eyes. At that point, something in the nun snapped. No longer was she the kind-hearted and compassionate nun she was. It was that day a new nun had been born. No longer would she show mercy to supernatural beings that used their power for tormenting innocent beings. She will defend them until the very end. That was when Rainier appeared and she mocked him. Rainier, laughing, oh how pathetic, he was the man that would give anything for me, the Prince Charming wannabe. I enjoyed toying with his emotions the most. Oh, and the best part was that I killed him when he least expected it. I even kept his gift in my hands. AN replaced the scenery with that of the church. That was when something in Asia snapped. She lunged at the fallen angel, who easily evaded her attacks like it was nothing. Rainier, you really are a fool. You really think that a human can attack me, especially when I have the supreme power in my fingertips. Saying that, Rainier used one of her light spear and aimed at her arms. Asia was hurt but used her twilight healing in response to heal her injuries. She shrugged them off like it was nothing and began her attack again by lunging at her face. Also, being human, the light spears were not as effective as it would have normally been to a certain devil. Asia, why are you bitch? You will pay. Rainier, don't you understand? Your attacks do not work on me. You will never win. With that, she threw 2 more light spears at her. Asia successfully dodged both of them with relative ease. She then took a nearby metal spike and lunged at Rainier, aiming for what it seemed like a boosted gear in its second liberation. She successfully aimed at the fallen angel's hand and she ripped open the gear. Rainier screamed as the boosted gear was removed from her arms. It flew towards the other side of the church. Asia then proceeded to incorporate the boosted gear into her hand, her rage allowing the boosted gear to show its true form. Rainier had a look of pure shock and fear as she saw the gear incorporated into the nun's hands. Rainier, how can this be? How can she have two sacred gears? Rainier, out of fear, threw light spears at the nun's face, but she easily deflected them and lunged at the fallen angel. Asia, weak. Rainier, no, please do not hurt me, I am too weak. Asia, how does it feel to be on the receiving end of a punishment? Did you spare Issei even though he did not do anything to deserve it? He loved you more than anyone else, and not only did you crush his heart, but you went one step further and even tortured him to death. You always enjoyed torturing others and then laughed at them. Now you will suffer till your last breath. Rainier tried to escape from her demise, but Asia caught her before she could do. She was caught by the leg. Replace Issei with Asia. Rainier, please show mercy. Asia, nope. Asia then threw her in a cyclic manner with her head landing on the ground first, then she proceeded to constantly punch her over and over again. Asia continued her onslaught as she then proceeded to start breaking every single bone in her body. Rainier tried to scream, but Asia used the stake to pierce her chest, preventing her to do so. Rainier tried to call someone to help them, but nobody came. Rainier was pathetically weak and stupid even in the canon. She was beaten by Issei, whose strength at the time was said to be weaker than that of regular devil children. The only reason he reached to the level he is in now is due to sheer training and hard work. His perversion was nothing but a motivator for him, just like Natsu's motivator is his friends. A lot of people think that his power-ups were only due to his perversion, which is dead wrong in their opinion. It was then the remaining members of the Orc came and saw what was going on. They saw Asia, the nun who had completely snapped at the angel, dealing a viscous haymaker to Rainier, who was barely even alive. She asked Asia to stop. Asia, furious, why Shouldouldimory, why your pawn is dead, just look around. Riaz understood what the fallen angel did. She could see Issei's dead body over there. She felt like this was her fault, if only she hadn't been prideful. If only she warned Issei about what Rainier's true identity and intentions were. If she had not been so negligent in handling her territory, none of this would have happened. Issei would have been still alive and the fallen angel would have been dealt with. But now not only was Issei dead, there was no chance to bring him back. Riaz felt guilty and remorse for what had happened. There was nothing she could do, nothing they could do. Even the other members of the Orc felt guilty because of their actions. Kaneko also felt guilty, as even though he was a pervert, he still was her teammate. Nevertheless, she could have easily revealed Rainier's identity since she spied when Rainier asked Issei for a date. Riaz, Asia, please stop. I know how it feels. I also lost a pawn. Please stop. Asia, realizing what she had done, stopped for a moment for Riaz also to have her vengeance against the fallen angel. Riaz, keeping her anger in check. Hello, fallen angel Rainier. I am Riaz Gremory, heir to the house of Gremory. I would love to chit-chat with you, but you did something far worse to my servant. You killed him in cold blood. You will pay for what you have done. For you see, the gear which Asia had on her hand right now is none other than the boosted gear, the same gear that has the Welsh dragon sealed in it. So do not worry, you won't have a dishonorable death at the hands of a weak mere human, but at the hands of none other than the Red Dragon Emperor. Rainier, how? All this while I had the ultimate power and I let my guard down. I lost this power and also lost to a mere pathetic human. No, there has to be a way to win, right, my friends? Riaz, you are correct, Crow. You let your guard down. That was the reason you lost to Asia Argento, who is now the current Red Dragon Empress. There is no way you could have won. Rainier, you think you have won. My friends would be coming to save me. Riaz, oh them, I already killed them. They were quite rude to me and my pawn, and also they mocked how you treated and killed Issei. Riaz then throws 3 feathers at Rainier, who had the look of shock and terror. She knew her demise was inevitable, and she knew that there are 2 people that wanted her dead more than anything else. Rainier made a last-ditch effort to escape. She tried using her fallen wings to escape, but Asia had caught on this and caught her wings. She then proceeded to rip of her wings, making her scream in pain and agony. Asia, now I have made you human, the very thing you despise. Now perish, dragon shot. Asia fired a green orb of magical energy towards Rainier. She screamed as the blast completely disintegrated her out of existence. Riaz and her peerage were in shock as she basically tortured a fallen angel to her death. Riaz then proceeded to try and help Issei but was stopped by the furious blonde. "Asia, don't you dare! You promised Riaz, you promised nothing would happen to Issei, you promised that he would be alive, but now he is dead and it is all your fault. You were negligent in handling this situation. Your pride and arrogance caused his death, and don't you dare approach him like you can fix the situation." Asia then proceeded to remove the pawn pieces from Issei's body and threw it on the floor. She then proceeded to carry her dead friend to a nearby grave site and bury him. Kaneko tried to attack her in mocking her master, but was stopped by the heiress as she was partly responsible for his demise. She didn't realize what the Fallen's plans were. If she did, none of this would have happened. "Riaz, this is all my fault. I let my pride get the better of me. What have I done?" Riaz had completely broken down. The peerage had also been saddened as they had lost their comrade. But now nothing can be done. This was the punishment for their pride as well as their laziness. With Asia, she was seen burying her friend in the graveyard. "Asia, sorry Issei, I couldn't protect you, I couldn't save you, I was too weak and afraid of what I am. I lost you, my only friend, and now I cannot be with you, but I will continue your last wish. No supernatural will ever toy with humanity ever again." Asia broke down after that. After a while, she left the gravesite with tears. "That was touching, but my whole plan failed. That damn crow had to ruin everything. I wanted the nun by my side, but she chose to kill that filthy dragon. She ruined everything." The mysterious person said this, gritting his teeth before teleporting away. Rainer's abduction of Asia Argento 2. Continuing from our story last time, we see our heroine Asia Argento having already established a mental connection with the Welsh dragon Draig. One night, while she was sleeping, she woke up in what felt like a fiery landscape. She saw a 100-meter dragon staring down on her. She looked terrified at first, but then recognized him as Draig, the Welsh dragon. "Draig, hello partner. Asia, who are you?" "Draig, it has been a while since I have had a lady as a host. My name is Draig, also known as the Red Dragon Emperor. Do not worry, I mean you no harm, since you are my current host." "Asia, you." "Draig, what's wrong, partner?" "Asia, truth be told, I am not your original host." "Draig." "Asia, yeah." "Draig, what do you mean by not the original host, partner?" Asia, sad while controlling her tears, "You see, my friend was the host before you. He was a reincarnated devil, a pawn of Ria's Gremory. His name was Issei Hyoudou. He was killed by the fallen angel Rainier by having the boosted gear extracted from his body, resulting in his death." Draig. Asia, and that's not even the worst part. He was tortured by the fallen angel as well as having being mocked by her after his demise. Draig, on hearing that, immediately became angry. He may not have known the host, but judging by his current partner's tone on how he died, knew that he would have been a great host. He roared in pain but knew that he could not have done anything as he was sealed inside the gear. He cursed God for his miserable situation. While he may have been a prideful dragon once, but now that has changed. He has now become a more compassionate creature thanks to being sealed in the boosted gear. Asia, controlling her anger, "But I avenged his death by brutally torturing her as she killed my first friend. If it wasn't for her, he would have been alive. But I made an oath, I will become stronger. I will not be the weak nun that let Issei die. I will no longer become the girl that was toyed by others due to being nice. I will protect any other sacred gear user from being abused by the supernatural with my own life. I will become so strong that no supernatural will dare attack an innocent person with their abilities till I am alive. I will need your help to become stronger, Welsh dragon. Draig, please help me." Saying this, Asia bowed towards the heavenly dragon, surprising him. While he may have some nice hosts over his time in being sealed inside the boosted gear, none have been so nice and determined as this girl was, especially when most hosts before her only cared for power, completely disregarding the dragon as merely a tool. They did not even talk to him or care for his feelings. They only used his power for destruction and rampage. Some even activated the Juggernaut drive for fun, just to see what it does, thus siphoning away their insanity as well as their life force. He knew that this host has a pure heart, but it has been shattered by some very terrible supernatural beings. Draig, roaring with laughter, "You are the first host. You are the first one that saw me as a being rather than a tool. I see your reason to be justified enough for me to help you. Therefore, I, Draig, will aid you in your quest to become stronger. I will be your host until the very end. Together we both will prevent what happened to Issei happen to anyone else. Asia, happily with tears, thank you, Draig, thank you so much. Well, how should we begin to become stronger? Draig, well, I could convert you into a dragon. With it you will become far stronger than a regular human. Your abilities will be enhanced. Beyond that of a regular human, angel, devil, or fallen angel, you will also have the abilities of a dragon like wings, sharp talons, etc. You will also have high magical abilities as well as high magic resistance. You will also be able to be immune to any poison as well as high durability. Only Samuel's poison would affect and kill you. But be warned, this process will be extremely painful. Are you sure you are up to the task, partner? Asia shuddered at the painful part, then she remembered the pain Issei went through because of her. With a determined look, she responded. Asia, I accept, let's do this, Draig. Draig, that's the spirit, partner. Well then, let's begin with the transformation. Saying this, she woke up from her dream. Asia, what a dream that was. Draig, partner, that was no dream. Asia, what the, Draig, how are you able to speak with me outside the mindscape? Draig, I can communicate with you with the boosted gear anytime you want me to. Just call my name and I will be able to chat with you. Just do not call me when I am sleeping. Asia chucked at Draig's statement. Draig, what's the plan, partner? How are we going to do the procedure? Asia, well, I know of a location where we can do our hiding spot. There's no supernatural to disturb or attack us. We can begin the procedure there. Draig, well then let's go. Saying that, they both left for that area. It was a jungle where no one would interrupt them since there was no one to bother the duo. Draig could easily hide her presence in front of the supernatural so that they would not bother them. Therefore, it was easy for the procedure to take place. Draig, nice choice, partner. Asia, thanks. Draig, so shall we begin? It would take a week for the procedure to complete. Asia, well, let's begin. We anyway have no time to lose as well as we have nothing to lose. With that, the duo then decide to start with the procedure. Asia, screaming in pain, it hurts so much. Draig, partner, do not pass out, you need to stay strong. Asia, you are right, Draig, I cannot give up, I need to stay strong. This pain is nothing compared to what Issei went through. Let's go, Draig. With that, Draig continued the procedure. It was painful. Every night Asia healed herself with her sacred gear, Twilight Healing. Even Draig, who was admired by his host's determination and tenacity, sent some healing energy via the gear to Asia. 7 painful days later began the next phase of Asia's plan to become stronger. Draig taught her all sorts of spells, including some of his very own spells known as Welsh Dragon Flare, Flamethrower, Firestorm, as well as his signature move, Blazing Inferno of Scorching Flames, which is Draig's signature move. It is capable of destroying enemies even as strong as a god, including their souls. The only ones that the move is not effective against is Great Red as well as Offeyes, who are dragon gods, as well as his rival Albion. Draig also told her about the Great War as well as his rivalry with Albion. While Asia initially chuckled at the stupid reason for the fight, she felt bad for doing so when she heard how he ended up being sealed due to his fight with Albion. She was an immense believer in God before how Issei died. After his death, she started losing faith in him. She over time learned how to use her flight skills as well as learned some transforming spells in order to mask her presence as a dragon and well to blend in the human world as well. Her spells allowed her to keep her presence hidden in the forest for a long amount of time. Draig, alright, partner, we are going to learn how to use Balance Breaker. Asia, but how? Draig, well, we have done most of the work, which was training. All we need is a catalyst to trigger it. It can be done with immense emotion. Asia, I think I know how we can do that. Asia remembered how she saw Issei died in her eyes. She remembered the reason on how he was killed. Such emotion brought intense anger inside of her. She knew that she will never let such a thing happen again. Draig, you did it, partner. You have achieved Balance Breaker. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Asia, so this is how it feels to use Balance Breaker. I feel too powerful. Now I feel like I can protect anyone that cannot be protected. Now no longer will anyone be attacked because of simply having a sacred gear. Draig, you got that right, partner. Let's protect some people. Draig, partner, I sense some people trying to stalk a sacred gear user. I fear they may kill them. Asia, on hearing this, saw her blood boiling. Being a dragon intensified her emotion of anger. She immediately realized that she needed to save this unknown person while at the same time making her presence unknown to the devils as well as any other supernatural. Asia, let's go, Draig. With that, she headed towards the fallen angels. Well, let's just say that they are gonna have a bad time tonight. With the fallen angels. Fa1 stands for Fallen Angel 1 and Fa2 stands for Fallen Angel 2. Fa1, is this the human we need to kill? He seems to be pathetic. Fa2, well, Cockabeel's orders are absolute. We cannot deny them. Let's just kill him and call it a day. With that, both fallen angels get ready to deal with the human. They prepare the light spears trying to kill the unsuspecting human. But before they could kill him, they are suddenly met by the arrival of a very angry dragon who immediately teleports them out of a hidden area. Why, hello there. The fallen angels were surprised to say the least. They did not know what had teleported them to the area away from the human. As for the human, he did not even realize what had happened and he went on his merry way. The fallen angels got themselves ready to fight this unknown opponent, but realized the amour of the opponent as it was familiar. It was the balance breaker of the boosted gear. Replace Ria's with Asia in this balance breaker form. Asia's balance breaker looks a lot similar to hers. Issei's, good day to you, crows. It is not a pleasure to meet you. Fa1, what do you want? Why have you teleported us here? Asia, well, I cannot let you hurt an innocent human simply as they only had a gear from God, you know. Fa1, well, he is a threat that needs to be eliminated, or else he will destroy the world. Asia, that's a lame excuse and you know it. I doubt they can even hurt two pathetic weak crows like you in that state. Considering you were about to kill him without hearing him out, I think you shouldn't proceed with what you are doing right now. Fa2, if you do not leave, we will kill you, weak dragon. Asia, last chance, leave and go back to whichever hell you came from. Fa1 and Fa2, nope. Asia, so be it. With that, Asia rushes at them at speeds faster than they could react. She fired a dragon shot damaging Fa1 before she could even evade or block. She screamed in pain. The second one, getting angry at her friend's injuries, attacked her, but she easily blocked her attacks. Asia, is that the best you got? Does your leader even train you? Fa1, you will pay for that. Asia, looks like that crackhead is pretty weak if he has subordinates like you. Thanks to Draig explaining her about the fallen angels, she knew about them beforehand, including the warmonger Cockabeel. Fa2, you will pay for insulting Cockabeel-sama like that. Asia, oh, I don't think so. With that, Asia easily lunges at the duo, easily scathing their skins with her aura and speed. She smirks and delivers a roundhouse kick to one while dealing a smack down to the other, knocking them out cold. Asia, give your regards to Cockabeel for me. Saying that she used flamethrower, killing both the angels very easily. Asia, so uncivilized. With that, she flies away to her hiding spot. She deactivated her balance breaker and decides to take rest for the night. Asia, hey Draig, I wonder what that redhead is doing, considering her territory is infiltrated by weak crows. Draig, knowing her, she must be slacking off and drinking tea. Asia, she disappoints me. Speaking of the redhead with Ria's. Ever since Issei's death, she has never been the same. She was always dull as her only hope at beating Riser had dulled off. Not to mention she never was the same confident princess she once was. She constantly was haunted by Issei's demise as well as the words which Asia said to her as she left the church that day. Even the orc has never been the same since his death. Kaneko as well was dull due to her teammate's demise. She knew that she could have saved him just like her master. She even stopped eating sweets. When the death of Issei was known to her brother Surzech, he was livid as she was not only negligent as well as her stupidity and pride resulted in Issei's death. Surzech, now you see what happened due to your negligence. You could have easily prevented such a thing to happen, but now you cannot do so. You literally had a golden opportunity to help you in your endeavors, but you let it go. Normally I would punish you by taking your territory away, but I think his death is punishment enough for you. plus your inevitable marriage with Riser is just an added bonus. Riaz, no brother, there must be something you can do. Surzech, no, I don't think that I will do anything, let this be a lesson for you. With that, he teleports away to the underworld, while sad at the fact that not only her sister is getting married to someone she does not even like, but also an innocent man. The Red Dragon Emperor was lost due to her negligence. He realized that this is her fault. Eventually, the day came when a certain silver-haired maid came to her orc and told her that the marriage with Riser had been proponed. This caused a massive uproar, but eventually realized that there is nothing she could do. This was Grafia, wife and queen of Surzech, who had informed her about the marriage proponing. Riaz, isn't there anything you could do, Grafia? Grafia, I am afraid not, my lady. The council has already decided your marriage. With that, Riaz was even more crestfallen. Her fate was sealed, but she knew that there was a way, there was slight hope. A few days later, Riser had visited her and was doing the same things he did to her in canon, like touching her without permission as well as ogling at her. She eventually had enough and decided to fight Riser. Riser, are you sure this is your peerage? Riaz, yes, it is Riser. Riser, well, Riser thinks that it is not enough. Considering Riser has a full set unlike you, you are surprisingly weak. With a snap of his fingers, an entire peerage of 16 people appear. They were all women that were tremendously strong. She knew that she had no chance against him, especially after she lost Issei. Riaz viewed the peerage in disgust as she saw Riser making out with his queen in front of everyone. Even her peerage was disgusted at his actions. Well, she knew that there was only one way to prevent the marriage, a raiding game. Grafia, well, the council has agreed. 10 days will be given for the raiding game. Riser, all right then, Riser will be enjoying your defeat. With that, both Riaz and Riser leave through their portals. She knew that in 10 days something would happen. A small hope would still be there in their eyes. Riaz, all right, we will be leaving tomorrow. Train like your lives depend on it. We will show that the 4 of us are enough to win this game. All 3 members, yes, President. With that, they head to the villa to train. It is basically the same as it is gonna be in canon, but with Issei and Asia's absence. The day of the raiding game came. All were ready despite being demoralized. The raiding game was quite quick. The Gremory peerage were only able to defeat 2 of Riser's pawns and her bishop. Even Aquino, her queen, couldn't stand a chance against Riser's queen. This was a complete and humiliating defeat for Riaz, as she was unable to defeat Riser. The raiding game ended with Riaz's defeat. She was going to end up being engaged. At the marriage hall, it was an engagement party. We could see many nobles as well as several devil heirs to the kingdom showing up. They knew of Riaz's struggles, but eventually knew that her fate was inevitable. Riser, thank you everyone for coming to Riser's wedding. As you can see that this is a big event for all devils as well as the supernatural in general. Now may I present you my beautiful bride, Riaz Gremory. Riaz Gremory could be seen on the altar dressed ready for the wedding. She had a sad look on her face, barely controlling her tears. She knew that her fate was sealed. Even her peerage's fate was sealed. She could see them with pitiful looks, as they also knew that no one was going to save her and her fate was inevitable. Rainer's abduction of Asia Argento 3. Continuing from our story last time, we see our heroine Asia going to Issei's house. She eventually decides to visit Issei's parents to tell him about his demise. She knew that they may not believe her considering that he is dead, but little did she know that they have already forgotten about Issei due to some supernatural interference. Draig, partner, I feel this is a bad idea. I don't think they are gonna believe you, considering you never met them. Asia, they must know what happened to their son. After all, he has gone missing for 2 months. They must have filled a missing persons report. Draig, I agree, but still not a lot of people believe in the supernatural. Spoiler alert, Issei's parents do not believe in the supernatural until way later when they were kidnapped by RageRevan, Vali's grandfather. Till then they were completely oblivious to its existence. They were literally living among devils, angels, and fallen angels for a year till then. Asia, alright, here goes nothing. With that, Asia rings the doorbell. She was welcomed by an elderly woman. This was Ms. Hyoudou, mother of Issei Hyoudou. While she was confused at the presence of a blonde woman at the door, she lets her in, not sensing any malicious intent in the blonde. She then introduces herself at the door and she lets herself inside the house. Asia, I want to tell you something. Ms. Hyoudou, go ahead. Asia, it is about your son. I guess you know that he has been missing for 2 months now. Ms. Hyoudou, what son? I do not have a son. Asia, shocked, what do you mean, isn't Issei your son? Ms. Hyoudou, no, I do not have a son, I never did. Asia, but how can this be? Ms. Hyoudou, I guess you have got the wrong person, Ms. Argent. Draig, I can sense some magic in them. It seems that their memories were wiped clean from their heads. Asia, but who would want them to forget about their own son? Draig, my guess is that redhead Ria's Gremory. She must have wiped their memories off. She probably could not live with her own failure, thus she came here back to them to completely wipe off their memory. Plus she had done it before when my former partner did not sense my presence inside of his body. The presence of devil magic in her body confirms about my suspicions. Asia, how could they? On hearing this, Asia became livid. She was emitting a silent aura. Not a lot of people can sense that Ria's made his parents forget about their one and only son. How could they be this cruel and vindictive? She knew that it was of no use staying there. She decided to leave before the devils could sense her. Draig, partner, calm down, the devils would sense you. Asia, right. Asia, sorry for bothering you, ma'am. I guess I really found the wrong person. I thought I was at the right address, my bad. I will be seeing myself out. Ms. Hyoudou, do you not want to have anything before you leave, like some snacks? Asia, no thank you, ma'am, but I would like to thank you for your hospitality and your offer. See ya. With that, Asia headed towards Q Academy, the place where the occult research club was. She knew that she had to confront Ria's and her peerage for what she did to the Hyoudou family. She needed answers. Asia, Ria's Gremory, you better have a proper explanation for what you did to the Hyoudou family, or else you will suffer the wrath of the Red Dragon Emperor. Asia headed towards the academy, and when she went inside, she saw Issei's 2 friends, the now perverted duo. She was getting vulgar stares from the boys in her academy and realized that these boys are a bunch of hypocrites for calling Issei a pervert. Yet they are more perverted than he is. She was disgusted at their hypocritical attitude. When she questioned about Issei to his 2 friends, she realized that even they had been mind-wiped thanks to Ria's. She eventually heads to the Orc, where she sees the redhead in a much paler state. Asia, Ria's, what did you do? Asia continued to speak only to realize that Ria's had been in a much weaker state. She could see bags under her eyes as she was unable to sleep. Her makeup was out of place. She could also sense that she was much weaker than who she once was, the prideful princess of Q, now reduced to such a miserable state. The negligence had taken a massive toll on her. Ria's weakly who's the right Issei is that yo-yo? Asia felt pitiful. The kind-hearted nun that was once present in there was still present. As much as she wanted to console Ria's, she wanted to help her with her problems, but then she remembered what she had done. She remembered what she did to Issei's parents. She decided that she wanted answers. Asia, what did you do to Issei's parents? Why they can't remember anything about their son? Why can't anyone remember about Issei? Ria's, well, Asia, answer me, woman. Ria's was taken aback by the outburst. Normally, she would respond in kind by fighting back, but now she is just a shell of her former self. Ria's, I mind-wiped them because of Issei. They must not remember their deaths. His parents will break down. Students in the school would mock him for being weak. He would be disgraced even further. I cannot stand watching him being disgraced even more. Asia wanted to say something but knew the redhead is right. She knew that this would have happened as she saw how they were treating the perverted duo. She knew that this school is pretty cruel when it comes to treatment of Issei. As for his parents, she felt they deserved to know about his demise, but she saw Ria's point. Asia, well, but they still deserve to know considering it's their son. But then why are you in this condition? I thought you wouldn't be guilty since he was just a mere pawn. Ria's got angry at the statement, but before she could do anything, she was interrupted by Akino, her queen. Her condition was bad. She lacked makeup, had dark circles. She was also in a weaker state. She also had messy hair. Asia wondered what had happened to the orc when she was away. Guilt of Issei's death alone did not cause this. She knew that something far worse had happened to them. Aquino, I can explain that. Asia, go ahead. Asia listened patiently to what the queen had to say. Aquino, well, you see, Riaz is now engaged to Riser. Asia, I do not see a problem. Aquino, let me explain. She then told about the raiding game as well as her engagement. She also told what type of a man Riser is. She also told how he was treating her, like she was some sort of toy and not a simple person. For him, Riaz was nothing but a trophy. Asia felt disturbed and angry at the thought of another person being toyed with, but realized she was responsible for her own fate. Thanks to her vigilance, the hunt for sacred gear users by the Fallen has reduced drastically. She decided to not taunt her regarding Riser even further. Asia, now I know why you needed Issei's help, Riaz. If you had just told him about everything, told him about Rainier, told him the reason for his recruitment, he would have happily helped you, he would have been alive, and none of this would have happened. Asia wept at the last part. She still held herself responsible for his demise. Riaz, on the other hand, felt more guilty for her negligence. She cried even more. Asia, on seeing this, couldn't control herself and decided to help the redhead. Asia is still the same person who she once was. She may be driven by a desire to protect, but her personality has not been changed. Asia, is there anything I can help you with? Situation Riaz. I'm afraid you cannot, Asia. Asia, Kiba, but why? Kiba, because her engagement had already been completed, and in the underworld, once an engagement had been completed, it cannot be broken unless one of the two partners cheats on the other with another person. Asia, I see. Well, I will take my leave. Good day to you, Riaz. With that, Asia leaves a crying Riaz with Aquino and Kiba. She decided to move back to her hiding spot when she saw two church sword wielders. She gritted at the teeth towards the people who had once discarded her for showing simple kindness to healing a devil. Asia, while controlling her anger, well, what does our two church wielders doing here in devil territory? 1. Nothing much, we were just visiting an old friend. Say, do you know where the Hyoudous live? Asia gritted that they know about their friend Issei. She wanted to tear them apart, but Draig calmed his host down as he did not want her to fight the church. Asia, why should I tell you about their location? 2. Listen, we do not want any trouble, we just want to get this over with quickly, so do not get in our way. Asia got ready to fight, but was interrupted by the other one's words. 1. Calm down, Zenovia. Sorry, she is sometimes too hot-headed. My name is Irina. As for our purpose, we wanted to see my childhood friend Issei. I heard he still lives here. Asia, oh, do I have a story to tell you? With that, Asia leads them away from Issei's house as she takes them to a part. While Zenovia was skeptical at the former nun's offer, she eventually accepted it. She told them everything what had happened, from his reincarnation into a devil, to his demise at the hands of the fallen angel, as well as him being mind-wiped from existence from everyone's memories. Both the girls were extremely livid, especially Irina. She was radiating with aura. She now realized that she had just lost her childhood friend, killed due to the fallen's hands. She knew that she had loved him as he was her childhood kiss. She now lost him as well. She began to cry tremendously as he is no more. Asia, on seeing this, comforted her as she was the only one who knew, nevertheless remembered Issei. Asia, I am sorry for yelling at you earlier. Irina, I now know your anger towards them. I now know why you got angry when you heard his family's name. I am grateful you avenged him. I am happy that he has not changed, even managed to make a loyal friend like you as a result. Asia blushed at Irina's statement. She knew that she was the only one who cared for her friend while she was not present. Asia, so what now? Irina, well, we were planning to visit the devils in charge to prevent them from getting in our way, but... Asia, don't visit them. Zenovia, why? Asia, well, I just did before you meeting you guys, and let's just say they were not in a good condition. I don't think they would even get in our way of taking care of Cockabeel. Irina, but we can at least tell them about our mission. Asia, well then let's go tomorrow. Irina, well, Asia was right, her condition is bad, nay worse. They knew of his demise, so I feel they are responsible for their fate. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to come here. Then you must know the purpose of our visit. We cannot let the devils intervene in our quest to find the Excaliburs. They have been stolen by the fallen angels. So our higher-ups have ordered us to retrieve them safely. Riaz, this is my territory and I feel like I must be involved. I must fight the monster who took my Issei away. Both Irina and Asia were furious at that statement. Her Issei, what was she even thinking? Her negligence is the reason he is dead. But before they could say, Zenovia responded. Zenovia, I understand the devil's involvement. They want to destroy the fragments. I know that you do not want to avenge Issei. Also do not mistake that if you get in our way, I won't spare you. Riaz, you dare threaten me in my territory. Zenovia, I do not care if you are the sister of Lucifer. I will take you down if I have to. Both were getting ready to fight when Irina decided to intervene. Irina, stop it you two. Zenovia, we are here to talk, not fight. We just wanted you guys to let the matter to ourselves. Asia, considering what is going on in your territory with the fallen running amok, I guess you should leave the matter to us. Kiba, I cannot let you do that. Zenovia, who are you supposed to be? Kiba, you're senior, let's fight. If we win, you get us involved. Zenovia, so be it. The fight is the same, with both Irina and Zenovia winning. However, the fight is interrupted by the arrival of none other than the crackhead himself. Cockabeel shows up. Cockabeel, good day to you, sister of Lucifer. Your red hair makes me sick. Riaz, what the hell are you doing here, fallen leader? Cockabeel, well, I thought by stealing the swords it would provoke the angels, but they only send me these two weaklings. Next, I would be destroying this entire city, provoking Surzets as well. My goal is to do something big. Asia, well, if it isn't the crackhead warmonger Cockabeel, to what do I owe the displeasure? Cockabeel, the red dragon is also here. Good, just great to start things off with a workout. Well, let's see what we can destroy first. The Q Academy is sure to gather some attention. Maybe then I can kill the two swordsmen, thus provoking the angels. With that, Cockabeel and the others decide to head to Q Academy to fight it out. The Citri and the Phoenix Peerage are on standby, knowing that a fight would begin. The Citri Peerage focuses on the barrier while the Phoenix Peerage helps the Gremory Peerage, the two swordsmen as well as Asia, to deal with him. Cockabeel, it is good to start a war. So, are you guys proud to meet a great war veteran? Asia, not really. We are not interested in the elf form of a crack addict, who is surprisingly weak for a leader. Cockabeel, that's a dies. With that, the battle begins between the teams. The Gremory Peerage focuses on taking down Valper, Galilei, and Freed. The Phoenix and the swordsmen take care of the Hellhounds, while Asia handles the leader Cockabeel himself. The fight is the same, with Kiba unlocking his balance breaker, Sword of Betrayer, resulting in the defeat and deaths of both Valper and Freed. Also, the Hellhounds were easily dealt with. Asia, tell me, were you the one who ordered Rainier to kill Issei? Cockabeel, you mean the red dragon boy? Yes, it was me. Asia, now you will perish, you damn crow. Welsh dragon balance breaker. Cockabeel, so this is the dragon's balance breaker. I must say it is quite impressive for a low-like human like you to activate it. Asia, wrong again. I am a dragon. Did the times make you weak, or are you into crack that much? Cockabeel, stop mocking me, dragon. Asia, then how would you like to be mocked? I take requests. Cockabeel, With that, the fight truly begins, with no side holding back. Asia wanted vengeance against the man, and Cockabeel wanted to deal with the dragon that mocked the great Cockabeel. They were going toe-to-toe with extreme speed. Cockabeel, I have never felt this good since the Great War. It is good to be back. Asia, let our fists do the talking, crow. Cockabeel then responded by throwing a lot of light spears at the dragon's face, but she easily dodged as well as deflected each and every one of them with extreme precision. She knew that this is gonna be a fight of her life. She used every single fire spell to weaken Cockabeel, who used his wings to protect himself from any damage. Asia started to get exhausted as she was unable to keep up, while Cockabeel knew that he could not block the attacks for much longer. He knew that he had to finish her in one strike. Cockabeel used all his magic to create one final light spear to fight against the former nun, throwing at her speeds faster than the eye could see. He aimed it at her heart, but Asia predicted his light spear throw. She easily dodged it and then responded with a dragon shot to the face, which was a direct hit. It caused the fallen leader to bleed, thus making him really angry. Cockabeel, damn you red dragon, damn you, how are you this strong? Asia, push-ups, sit-ups, and plenty of juice. Cockabeel, now being open, was too exhausted to even continue the fight, leaving him to the assault of the vengeful nun. She easily tore into him, dealing a massive amount of damage to his bones and skin. She easily used Longinus Smasher, dealing a massive amount of damage to the fallen angel. Cockabeel was bleeding, had his head smashed, as well as he was unable to even stand due to the exhaustion and damage to his internal organs. But Asia was not done. She easily used her draconic strength to pummel him into oblivion. By the end of the onslaught, Cockabeel had several broken bones and was bleeding from all ends. Cockabeel, please no more. Asia, very well then die. Welsh Dragon Flare. With that, the body of Cockabeel was no more, he was dead. Outside the barrier. Sona, Saji, focus. Saji, yes, President. Sona, only me and Tsubaki are left with any strength, even Saji is down. Sona, what the fuck is that? A white light came, destroying the barrier in a second. Saji, oh come on, we just made that. With that, Saji passes out. Meanwhile with Asia. I am here to take Cockabeel back. Wait, he is dead. What am I gonna tell Azazel? Are you the one who killed him? Points at Asia. Asia, yeah, I killed him, so. Oh okay, I was only asked to bring him in if he was alive, oh well. Draig, it has been a while. Albion. Albion, yeah, it has been Draig. Asia, so he is the White Dragon Emperor, huh? So are you going to fight me, White Dragon? Is not yet, our inevitable battle will happen soon, rival. We will fight till our heart's content. Asia, do not disappoint me, rival. I could say the same to you too, rival. Albion, both our hosts are extremely strong. This battle will be interesting. Draig, still love battling, do you? Well, time will tell who wins. With that, the White Dragon Emperor leaves the area. Asia is happy that there is someone who is as strong as me.